Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody. It's Lynn here, the Go Live Granny, and I'm live streaming here on Sunday evening, and it is the 12th? No, the 13th of April, I do believe. Is that right, folks? Anybody there that can correct me? I think it's the 13th of April. And I hope you've all had a lovely day and a lovely week. So last time I live streamed, I was at my daughter's, and now I'm here. Next Sunday, I'm not live streaming because I'm doing family things next Sunday, but I will live stream on Monday next week again. So, and I will live stream from my daughter's. Hello, Steve. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to remind me. So let's have a look. I've got something in the way of the comments. I've got whoops. Hang on. Oh dear! I didn't mean to do that. There was something on here, and there's a thing, and it says share your referral link, and I didn't even know what it was. I was trying to get it out of the way, and I touched it, and it's put a link up. So I don't know. But it's in the way of the comments. That's not going to be very helpful. Not quite sure about this now. I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't know how to get rid of it. Wait a minute. I don't know. Well, it's going to be in the way of the comments. That's not very helpful at all. Oh, and I know what I've done. I've enlarged the writing on my screen, so I'm not going to see so many of the comments anyway. I don't know if I can. Hello, Kath. Kath coming in, calling me a glamorous gran. Heather's coming in. And I'm saying I'm having a job to see the comments because there's a silly thing across the screen that says share your referral link, and I tried to get it out of the way, and when I touched it, it just put a link up on there. Try the 3 dots. Steve's putting something there. Wait a minute, hang on. Next to it on the right. I can't see 3 dots next to it on the right. Wait a minute. Oh, I've done it again. I didn't mean to share it again, folks. But when I touch it, that's what happens. I don't know. I tell you what, let's see. Oh, no, I won't be able to do this. Will I? Will I be able to do this? If I can log in on this computer, but I don't know. No, I don't know. I really don't know. It is party time. Well, we do have a birthday girl, but I don't know if she's in. If she'll be in the live stream tonight. We might do a bit of singing in a little while and see. I don't know if she watches anymore, but it is one of our community, and I did ring her up and wish her happy birthday. Wait a minute. Let's see if I can. Hang on. No, I don't know. Wait a minute. Let's have a look. So we've got the comments, but we've got. Oh, no, I can't. Wait a minute. Let's have a look and see. What does that one say? Layout, private chat. Let's see if I can change the layout. Let's see. Oh, no, that's no good. Wait a minute, let me do that again. No, I don't know. Do you know, you would think after all these years that I would know how to do this, wouldn't you? I was watching back today. I was watching back some of my my live streams from COVID times, so all those years ago, and even some longer ago than that. And you think after all these years I would exactly know how to do this, but things change and my memory gets worse, so I don't know. Hello, Tracy. Tracy's in on Facebook. Wait a minute. I just want this stupid thing there. I want that out of the way. I don't know how to get it out of the way. Wait a minute, let's see. No. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to keep putting that link in there. I'm just trying to get rid of the writing that says it's across where your comments are. It's so stupid. Oh, I don't know. Wait a minute. Let's have a look. No, I don't know. I know some of it is because I've enlarged the font on my phone, and therefore I can't see so much. So let me just. I'll have to see the comments as they come above that. Wait a minute. Oh, hang on. Right. Okay. Let's. Oh. Oh, some of this has changed as well. So it's not just me, but sometimes the things change and the format is different on here. Never mind. Let's see how we go. Wait a minute. Let's scroll back and see if I can see some of the comments, but it's not going to be very easy. So Heather said, good evening, my dear sweet friend. You look all spiffed up. Yes, and I'll tell you why I'm all spiffed up in a minute. Kath was saying, hello, glamorous Gran. And Steve saying he must remember next week it's going to be Monday, not Sunday, because I have family time on Sunday, Easter Sunday. I'm spending time with my family, and I won't be live streaming. Wait a minute. So let's see. Right. Okay. So I think I've caught up with the people coming in. So Steve's in the house. Heather's in the house. Tracy's in the house. And Kath's in the house. Whoops. Hang on. What's that? Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy's Kath's in. I can see that you're tagging people, Tracy. Thank you. And Heather's saying, it's okay, Lynn. It's part of the shenanigans. Lol. And you know what? I've been trying to set up so that does anybody know how to turn the brightness down on my? How would I turn the brightness down on my screen? Because it's my screen that's reflecting in my glasses. So you've got all the reflection in the glasses, and I don't even know how to do that. So that's not very helpful either, is it? But I suppose I could put the screen off, I suppose. I'm just looking, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do that. If anybody can tell me how to dull the screen so it's not so bright, and maybe I'll tell you what, I'll just take it off. Let's see. Is that better? The screen still, I tell you what, I'm going to put my computer off. If I put my computer off, there'll be no screen on. But, sometimes I like to look up things on there. But I used to be able to do this. I used to have my phone and my computer and sort of link between the two. But I really don't know. I've lost the plot, obviously. All part of the shenanigans, as you say. Right, so wait a minute. Steve's going to come back from Alfie's late next Monday bank holiday so he can say hi. Okay, Andrew's in the house. Hello, Andrew. Steve saying on his keyboard there's a top row with two circles, one large and one small. Try the small one. Let's have a look. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't see anything like that, Steve, on mine. So that's not helpful either. I'll tell you what, I'll just put that off, and then we won't get any. We won't have the computer on at all. Let's just put that off. So Andrew's in the house now. Is there a brightness button on my keyboard? Oh, now that's a. Oh, let's have a look. I don't know what all these things mean. Wait a minute. Let's push. Let's see. What does that do? Well, that doesn't do anything. Sorry, folks. I'll have a look and see. No, I can't see any of these. None of these seem to be a brightness thing. I can see sound. I can see. Oh, sound. Oh, I've now found out how to put the sound off, because sometimes I've wanted to have that on, but not the sound. I think I've found out how to put the sound off, but not how to put the brightness off. Don't know what. I tell you what, I'll just shut it down. Let's just shut it off for now. I really must have a lesson in how to live stream all these years later. That's what I'll have to do. There we go. Let's push shut down on that. That's going to shut down now. So we won't worry about that. You're bright. F5 and F6. Okay, let's see. F5. Oh, it's shut down now anyway. So, Steve's got a Chromebook. No, I haven't got a Chromebook. I've got a keyboard and I've got an old, it's a Windows something or other computer there. That one. Not talking about this. I'm broadcasting on my phone. The symbol is a sun. No, on mine there's no sun. That didn't work. Anyway, computer's gone off now. So look, there's not. Oh, you still have got reflection in my glasses. What's reflecting now? Wait a minute. Let's see if it's this light. Let's put this one off. No, it's this one up here. Wait a minute. Sorry, folks. There. Oh, now I'm in the dark. No, this is not very good. I'm going to have to put that one back on. Otherwise, I look like I'm a ghost, don't I? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. You can't get the grannies these days, but you need some shenanigans, because I didn't have any shenanigans on the train this week. So I'll have to give you some extra shenanigans doing this. All right. So let's see. Oh, Kath hopped over to YouTube there. So she said the symbol is a sun. So Kath, I don't know. I give up. I've switched the computer off. We've got a light up here. I need to find out much better. I was trying to record a testimonial last night, because I went to the theatre and I wanted to do a testimonial, and I was trying to do it. And I've got a ring light where you can put your camera in the middle of the ring light. But the ring light, of course, because I wear glasses, it all shines, and I don't know what to do. So there we are. Andrew's had a fab weekend performing in an Easter pantomime all about the Easter Bunny. I don't know. Let's show that on stage. Oh, they've changed the format of how I do these things here now. Whoops. So I know how I put the comments up is different. It's all changed. Right. So click on the speaker at the bottom, and the brightness level is usually with the sound level. I'm going to leave it alone now. I switched that one off, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Right, there we go. We'll get there in a minute. I don't know that we will get there, Steve. We can try and get there in a minute. Anyway, you have noticed I'm glammed up. And I've glammed up because I glammed up last night, and I went to the theatre last night. Some of you will have seen that I went to the theatre. Now, years ago, we used to dress up for the theatre, didn't we? Well, some of you might not know that, you younger ones, but when we used to go to the theatre, we always glammed up. And I hadn't intended to glam up for the theatre last night, but I was lucky enough to go to the theatre on Friday night. So I better roll back a bit. We have got, so this is the end of it, the end part of this week. I'll go to the first part of the week in a minute. I've shut the computer down. We have to play another time. We will. So Andrew's saying, go live, Glam Granny. Oh, the other day when I was I think I told you in a previous stream, when I was at my son's wedding, my daughter-in-law's nephew, so that's my daughter-in-law's sister's son, they heard people talking to me about the Go Live Granny or something, and he wanted to know if I was the gangster granny, because there is a character, isn't there, in some, I think, some films or some books and something. There's a gangster granny. I don't intend to be the gangster granny, I might take a pot shot at one or two people who are corrupt, but I don't really think I'm much of a gangster. So anyway, what did I see? Right. So, and I can only see what did you see if I scroll it up past this silly thing that's on my screen? So, that your message, what did you see? It's just across the screen like that. But most of that part of the screen, it's got a thing that says share your referral link. And I don't want to keep touching that because it keeps putting all that junk in the messages. So anyway, let's carry on. What did I see? Well, I went to see, on Friday night, I went to see, what did I go? Oh, King Ubu, King of the Isle of Wight. And last night I went to see Tell. So I will tell you all about these things. Susan's in. Susan, we've been having shenanigans with the screen and with I've had to put the computer off because it was making too much light on my glasses and I didn't know how to turn the brightness down. We put the lights off, but we still got reflection in the glasses. So we'll just this is how we'll have to go. And then on top of that, Susan, I've got something right across where your comments are coming up and I can't get rid of it. And every time I touch it, it puts a referral link up. So I'm leaving it alone. But I have to try and scroll your comment just above that link. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, I better go back to the beginning of the week. I can't remember what day I came back. Can anybody remember what day I came back? Did I come back on Tuesday or did I come back on Wednesday? I can't remember. But anyway, I've been back for a few days and I've had a very busy week. Now I can't remember what I did at the beginning of the week. So let's flip to Friday. So I had a busy Friday. I had several things to do on Friday. Oh, I know, my hairdresser was coming on Friday. And so she came, and then as soon as she'd come, she'd been, I went nip down into town because there was a coffee morning for the Time Bank. Tuesday, thank you, Tracy. Tracy says I came back on Tuesday. It's a good job I got at least one of you keeping me on track. Andrew says he loves going to the theatre, off to London on Thursday on the sleeper train, and then Mrs. Doubtfire the musical. Oh, that will be brilliant, Andrew. Well, I don't have to go on a train. I don't have to go, overnight anywhere because we have had a theatre come to us in Ryde, and it's absolutely amazing. And you'll probably see that every time I'm home, I'm probably going to be going to the theatre because it's right on my doorstep. It's just amazing. Steve went to see Foxfinder at the Edward Alderton Theatre in Bexley Heath on Thursday. Dram show, excellent. Oh, we are a lot of theatre, a lot of theatre lovers, aren't we here? So I mean, when I lived in London, well, before I was married to my second husband, when I lived in London, I hardly ever went to show. We might go to one or two shows occasionally. We were so not that far from the West End, but we didn't do that. When I married my second husband, he was really into that sort of thing. So we went into London so often and we saw things like Starlight Express and all those sort of things, Phantom of the Opera, whatever. I can't remember. So many shows and it was wonderful. Tracy's saying she may not be able to do much at the moment, but her brain is in working gear at the moment. I think it's the only thing that is working. Poor Tracy had a fall. It's the council's fault. It was dodgy paving down in Cowes, and poor Tracy's had a fall. So we all need to send love to Tracy. So anyway, but you're here, Tracy. That's what matters. So let's just make sure that I haven't missed any. No, I'm trying not to miss comments. So Kath says she's always at the theatre, mainly Amdram. Watched a really funny Amdram on Saturday night. Well, so let me tell you, we'll skip to Friday because I can't remember what I did earlier in the week. Somebody might remind me. I did. No, Tracy and I didn't catch up this week, but I've been catching up with several people, but I can't remember. I must make notes in future. Anyway, so yes, so on Thursday I had my hair cut, then I popped down into town and it was the Time Bank coffee morning, and the Time Bank is where you skill swap. So basically I need some stuff taken to the tip. So I will put in a request to see if somebody can take my stuff to the tip. And then what they do, maybe it will take them an hour to collect my stuff and go to the tip and whatever, or maybe half an hour, whatever. And they bank their time. So they put they put a message in saying that that's what they did. And then maybe Jack is the one who's taken my stuff to the tip. Then I might not want Jack might not want a service that I can provide, but somebody else might want something. So I've volunteered to do some social media for the Time Bank, and so I can put my time into the Time Bank. And that's how I can then take out time for somebody to do something else for me. So it's basically skill swapping. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but maybe you understand what I said, what I was doing. So that was brilliant. That was a brilliant coffee morning. And Zoe was at the coffee morning, and Zoe is now the general manager of the department. Now you'll hear me talking a lot about the department. The department, I presume it's called the department because it used to be a department store. And I can give you, I've got a paper. I've been trying to read up on all the stuff that I've been learning, because it's all about the history of Ryde. So this is all about the department, and this is the department unpacked. And basically, it's celebrating the rich and varied history of 29 to 30 Cross Street. Okay, and so let's tell you when it started. So they've got a timeline running across the bottom of this paper, and it says, right, 1700. Ryde comprises two hamlets, Upper Ryde, supporting the surrounding farming community, and Lower Ryde by the water's edge. 1705, Henry Player, a Hampshire brewer, purchases properties in Upper Ryde, including a blacksmith shop, a brickyard, and an inn. Then in 1810, Cross Street, which is the street where the department is, the one we're talking about, and it's Cross Street because it goes across the top of Union Street, I presume. Cross Street has been developed as far as Union Road. So there's a Union Road and a Union Street. It gets a bit confusing, folks. The building that is to become department and a thatched public house were already established. So that's in 1810. Emmanuel Wheeler becomes the tenant of the two properties, including one that will become 29 to 30 Cross Street. In 1829, the Ryde Improvement Act recognises Ryde as a town. You know, you didn't know you were going to have a history lesson tonight, did you? I didn't know I was going to have a history lesson tonight. But it's very interesting. I mean, it's particularly interesting for me because I live here. But, you know, it was just interesting. So in 1830, George Woods, a community-minded entrepreneur, is advertising his ironmongery and whitesmith shop on Cross Street, demonstrating his dedication to the town. Woods also takes on the pivotal role of the first superintendent of Ryde Fire Brigade, establishing the island's first brigade in 1829. In 1839, George Woods' business flourishes, expanding to become George Woods and Sons. In 1841, Emmanuel Wheeler, the cabinet maker and lodging house proprietor, and George Woods, ironmonger, reside on Cross Street, along with the enterprising hairdresser George Hopgood and his wife Martha. In 1846, William Cass Woods, son of George Woods, leases property on Cross Street and further expands his commercial interests through a lease from his father-in-law, Emmanuel Wheeler. Whoa, who knew? So we're getting there, folks. Let me just catch up with the comments before they all disappear. So Andrew's saying last weekend he went to the theatre 3 days in a row, 1 act play festival, part of the Scottish Wide Amdram competition, 8 fab plays over the 3 nights with winners, etc. announced on Saturday. Excellent, Andrew. I know you love your theatre. And Cass saying it's really interesting. She loves social history. Well, I'm glad that you're interested. That's fine. I'll carry on. I'm interested too. And hopefully some of you other people will be. So in 1851, Ryde's population surges to 7,147. George Woods retires and his sons take over. William Cass Woods, whitesmith, now employs 12 men. The business became W&J Woods, run by William and his brother James. The Woods name remained a fixture at this location for over a century. 1853. Bedford house shops are advertised, including W&J Woods, ironmongers, and R.G. Osborne, a tailor offering trousers cut on the most approved principles. There we go. 1854, William Cass Woods was appointed Fire Brigade Superintendent for a second term after his intervention in a high street shoe shop sorry, in a high street shoe shop exposes. Sorry, let me read that again. William Cass Woods was appointed Fire Brigade Superintendent for a second term after his intervention in a high street shoe shop exposes the brigade's inefficiencies under the previous elitist Board of Commission. Having resigned earlier, probably due to these issues, Woods is persuaded to return to the position when a new democratically elected commission implements reforms and drafted a new set of fire brigade rules. He goes on to improve the performance of the brigade and was instrumental in the creation of the town's first hydrant map. Steve saying he watches through Lucy's lens on YouTube, a younger lady who does social history videos. Oh, well, there you go. Who knew that I was going to find something interesting for you like that? I didn't know I was going to do this bit. I hadn't planned to do this, but, you know, let's tell you the history. 1855, Miss Mary Jane Greenaway, a corsetier, a lady who makes corsets, trained under the renowned Madame Virginie of Brighton. She takes over the R.G. Osborne's shop. Miss Greenaway advertises her India corset, known for its extreme lightness and a good variety of jupon, whatever that means. And I'm just going to enter Lucy Worsley. Wait a minute, let's see if it was Lucy. Oh, are you asking Steve? Probably. I'm seeing The Good Life at Bromley Little Theatre in June. Excellent. So I'm just going to do an aside. My gran used to make. I don't know whether she made corsets, but I know she worked for the Spirella company, who made They made bras. But the reason I popped that in, I just remember her, telling me the stories, because they were machinists. In the war, they had a really important job to do. Not with the bras, but because they were machinists, they were set on task to make the parachutes. And I have to do a little demonstration. So she told me how they were machining, and they would have to sit right back on their chairs and gather up all the parachute silk, because a parachute's massive, and they'd gather all the fabric up like this, and then they'd machine away, machine. If the thread broke, they had to start again, because if a thread broke, that made a weakness. And of course, a parachute is to save your life. If there's a weakness in the thread, then it's not going to save your life, is it? And it was just so fascinating, her telling me, and the way she sat there and went, showed me how they went back on their chairs. That was absolutely amazing. So The Good Life would be just up Cass Street. Maybe Steve's not sure of her surname, Lucy. So let's go back. So that was 1855. Now, and there's a little advert alongside it from that time. There are little adverts there, but they're a bit small and I can't really read them. 1856, hairdresser George Hopgood, inventor of a popular hair cream, publishes his book Management of the Hair and Scalp. His hair cream reaches markets throughout Great Britain and as far as Australia. There we go. Fame. 1863, William Breeden, tailor, hatter and woolen draper, opens at Cross Street. So, there we go. You'll eventually get to why I'm wearing this outfit and why I wore this outfit to the theatre, but you have to have all the history first. So 1865, W&J Woods celebrate the grand opening of a new workshop. The Isle of Wight Times noted, several of the workmen then followed with short addresses, and it was evident from the homely remarks that a good understanding existed between employer and employee at this establishment. 1884, Oscar Wilde visits Ryde to deliver a lecture on dress, during which he harshly criticises the corset, tight lacing and small waists. And Kath has just looked up Lucy Lenz, who is not Lucy Worsley. She'll take a look. She really likes Lucy Worsley. So there we go. Anyway, You know, it's lovely to have exchange of information like this so that you'll get to know other things. And you know, welcome to anybody coming in. I can see quite a few people here. If you want to join in the chat, please do. If you want to sit in the background and just watch and listen, that's absolutely fine too. Anybody coming in on the replay, if you put replay in the comments, then I will know that you've watched the replay and I can comment back to you. So that'd be nice. 1892, a trade directory highlights W&J Wood's prominent position on Cross Street. The business, primarily known for its ironmongery, has expanded into a 3-story building with an impressive 50-foot facade. This iconic frontage, which has since been designated a Grade 2 listed building, showcases the company's growth and architectural flair. Alongside their traditional ironmongery products, they now offer a wider range of stylish home furnishing. So there we go. I mean, there's so much information in this. I haven't read this whole thing yet. It will take me ages to get through it. So in 1921, Queen Mary visits the shops at Cross Street and makes several purchases. It doesn't say what she bought, but she made several purchases. In 1954, W&J Woods now trade as Woods and Wilkins, but it is now owned by Pascal Atke and Son. 1973, Woods and Wilkins moved to 146 High Street. So you have Cross Street that goes like this. Union Street goes down to the seafront, and the High Street goes up the other way to the top of town. So we you know, that's so Cross Street's one side, Lynn Street's the other side. So you have it like a cross of the road. That's the roads in Ryde. So wait a minute, we've done that page 19. So we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So in 1987, we're nearly there now at the point that's you know, what I was going to make. But I have to give you all the history. Elizabeth Barrow opens Elizabeth Pack Fashion Department Store. Tasked with preserving the building's commercial status for planning reasons, Barrow transforms the large space into a single retail unit. Elizabeth Pack becomes a cornerstone of Ryde, offering discerning customers a unique blend of tradition and classic style, and of course, wedding dresses. 2016, Elizabeth Barrow dies aged 90. Pack department store closes and the building enters a period of vacancy and neglect. And so it was actually shut for, I think, about 5 years. Then we go forward to 2021. I think my maths is right. Shademakers UK, the world's leaders in large-scale kinetic costumes, and they make the most amazing costumes. They sign the lease and the reimagining of the department begins. And so, of course, they've reimagined the department. And on the 13th of April, the department was launched. Unfortunately, I was away because I was at my son's wedding. So I didn't get to go to the launch, but I saw all the stuff online. And in the building, there's a theatre. So there's a I mean, what they've done when they started work, and they had, I've forgotten how many millions they had. Art Council. Sorry, Kath saying, what am I reading from, Lynn? I am reading from this. This was a paper that they were giving out in the department. There's lots of these in the department, and so this was it says here 13th of March to the 8th of June 2025, and it's got the shade makers, and it's got in here, it's got Nanty Narks, Paper Dreams, Pax People, A Handmade Story, Forging a New Chapter, Traces, Box People, Whale Shark, and Drawers of Perception. And they're all things to do with what's actually happened in the building. I mean, I will read more of this and give you more of the history as we go along over the weeks. But Pax People, I have done a bit of reading up on Pax People. There is a website with all this on. I don't know if it tells me the website here, does it? I don't know. But if you Google department ride, you will probably be able to find it easily. I forgot what I was going to say. But they had Art Council funding to do this, and it's just amazing. So the building, they started work on it, and I was talking to people about, because I had a tour on Friday. So what I was saying was, I went to the coffee morning. No, I had my hair done. I went to the coffee morning, and Zoe, who's now the general manager of the department, was just going to give a lady from the coffee morning a tour around the department, and we were in the old Nat West building, which the Ryde Town Council have taken over and are using that for very community hub type stuff, and they are based there, the Ryde Town Council, and the department is literally just across the road, absolute spitting distance. So we just had to cross the road, and Zoe was going to show the lady round, and she was from the people who she was one of the home educators on the island. We have a lot of people doing home education here because the education is so up the creek on the island, as it is most places, that a lot of people are doing home education, and of course this sort of building is wonderful for learning, lots of learning things, and so she wanted to know more about it. So I tagged along on the tour, and they've got some of the original brickwork. They've found some of the old wallpaper that's still on a wall, several layers of wallpaper. They uncovered windows that got covered up. It's amazing, so many things happening. So it used to have a cafe, and it used to be a department store that did bridal wear and ladies' fashions and shoes and things. And actually, the reason why I'm wearing this tonight is I wore it to the theatre last night, but I hadn't intended to. The theatre show last night was about Elizabeth Pack, the store, the department store. And the night before, the show was King Ubu, the King of the Isle of Wight, which was so hilarious. It was a pop at the Isle of Wight Council. It was amazing. A lady sitting next to me was from the mainland, but she seemed to get all the references and all, she was laughing anyway. Yes, so that was really good. But when I was talking to the actors at the end of Friday night's show, I was telling them that I bought this outfit in Elizabeth Pack 19 years ago. This was the outfit I bought to wear to my daughter's wedding. So she got married in 2006, and I had, but like I have now, I've just lost 3.5 stone. Back then I just lost 3 stone. I mean, in between I put it back on, but now it's a lifestyle and it's going to stay off. But obviously life happened then and it all went back on. But I had been losing 3 stone, and I'd lost it from September to January, and I didn't buy my outfit till the week of my daughter's wedding. And I'm so grateful to Elizabeth Pack because the store, because we don't have we didn't then have a lot of clothes shops on the island. And I thought, oh, I wonder where I'm going to get anything. Oh, I might have to go to the mainland. And I only had the week of the wedding to do it. And, I might have had to cross the water and go to this shop for a hat and this shop for a dress and this shop somewhere else. That's what I thought I was going to have to do. And my daughter had gone into the hairdressers on the island. She didn't live on the island, but she was getting married on the island. And for weeks beforehand, she'd been having her husband to be's relations was practicing doing her hair, ready for the wedding. And then at the last minute, she wasn't going to be able to be at the wedding. So poor Tasha had to then come to the island and find somebody to do her hair. So she'd been with me, but she'd just gone into a hairdresser's to have her hair styled. And I went into Elizabeth Pack. And I'd seen this. I like this because it's sparkly. It wasn't with the dress. Sorry, it's all falling off my shoulder because of the way I'm sitting at the minute. Sorry. It wasn't with the dress. The dress on its own, I never would have bought. I didn't like the dress. I'd never wear that. I've only worn this outfit 3 times, to be honest. but I will wear it more now. But I didn't like the dress on its own. It's not something I would wear on its own. But so I went out of the store without anything and thinking, oh, we're feeling so frustrated. But for some reason, I went back in the store. Right, wait a minute. Let me just look. Hang on. Tracy's just put a link up there. I'm not quite sure what that link. Oh, it is probably about the department. Yes, I can see it's. You've been on the website, Kath. If it's all in there, then that's great. I expect it will be, but because I went on the Pax People website earlier and I found a lot of information. I'll get you one of these. If you want one of these, Kath, I'll get another one. I'm going in on Tuesday, so I'm sure there'll be still some more around. So I'll get you one of those. Anybody else wants one, let me know. Steve saying Through Lucy's Lens is a fairly new channel, so she only has a few videos at the moment. And then Steve said, that sounds funny, Lynn, but I don't know what you're referring to, because that you probably wrote that a few minutes ago. You told Alfie that you wore that fab outfit at your daughter's wedding. I love the Fascinator. Well, you see, there's even a story to the Fascinator as well. So what I was telling the actors was, about how I'd gone into Elizabeth Pack on that, that day, and gone out again, but I went back in again. And I spoke to the assistant must have said, "Can I help you, madam?" or something like that, because that's what they did. That's that sort of store. And I said, "Oh, I was looking for something for my daughter's wedding," and they led me into a fitting room. And then they went away and they came with outfits for me to try on. And that's how I came to put this jacket with this dress, or they put them together. And that's how I felt fabulous once I put this outfit on, the two bits together. Because, of course, I love sparkle. I like these sorts of colours. But they didn't have a hat. I was very much a hat person, and they didn't have a hat. But you see, I have a matching Fascinator. It's not very well stuck in my hair. when I have it in, I have for an event, I have to have it put in with hair grips. Now I live here on my own, and I can't put those hair grips in, so I've just balanced it in for now. I also have issues when for example, when I wear a necklace like this, I might not be able to get this off without going to one of my neighbours and asking them to undo it. I can do it up, but I can't undo it. That's the downside of living on your own. But there's many upsides to living on my own. I can cope with not managing to get the necklace off easily. But anyway, so this isn't the original necklace. They had, so in the store, oh, I haven't told you about the fashion. I'll come back to the Fascinator. So in the store, they did jewelry. So I had a necklace more in the colours of this, and it was a lovely necklace. It had three strands, and it had beads of all these colours, but nice, really nicely shaped beads, and it really matched incredibly well. So that was brilliant. And then I got my shoes in there. Wait a minute, I'm just looking. What did I do with the shoebox? I have lost the shoebox. Well, that's not very sensible, is it? I bought the shoebox in here. Where have I put it? Where's it? Oh, I'd be dangerous with the brain. I put the paper on top of the shoebox. How silly is that? So this is the shoebox, the original shoebox for the shoes I bought in there 19 years ago. The shoes were like that. And on here it says guaranteed dyeable. So that's what they did. I had some little shoes with heels on. I don't wear heels anymore. So they're tucked away somewhere in the flat. I don't know where they are, but they probably wouldn't fit now anyway. And and look, the price is on there. I paid £59.99 for those shoes. Cool, that was a bit expensive, wasn't it? It wasn't the cheapest shop, but the fact that I hadn't got a lot of time to go anywhere, and I got the service, and I've got a wonderful outfit that I know I will wear more times now. I wore it for my daughter's wedding. I think I wore it to something else, and then of course I put weight on, so I couldn't get into it, and it's been tucked in the corner of, you know, in the side of my wardrobe all those years. And then when I was looking for some, you know, thinking about my son's wedding, I'd even forgotten it was there. And then I was sort of in the wardrobe, you know, rummaging for something, and I came across it, and I thought, ooh, because I'd lost 3 stone at that point, and I'd lost, no, nearly 3.5 stone. I thought, let's try it on, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I was really pleased. So anyway, they dyed the shoes in that shop. They dyed some little gloves. I had some little gloves as well, so they dyed the gloves. I didn't buy my earrings in there. I did buy one of those body shapers to hold my tummy in. Now I don't worry. I still got a bit of a tummy. I'm still losing weight, but you know, I don't care anymore. So I wasn't gonna hold myself in with one of those things this time. I just thought, I don't, you know, I'm not doing that. And so I think I got everything in Elizabeth's pack, including this. So what they did, this fabric, can you see? It's actually the same fabric as the dress. And what they did, they took the fabric off the shoulder pads, because it's got shoulder pads in it. They took the fabric off the shoulder pads and they made this. They covered these twirly bits. Obviously, they put some matching feathers in, but they made that out of the fabric that was in the shoulder, on the shoulder pads. And I have kept it in this box. I've kept that in this box all these years, so it didn't get crushed. And so, you know, I didn't have to go and buy a hat this time because I had it there. And when I had my hair done, I got the hairdresser to clip it in for my son's wedding. And, you know, I was going to wear it all day. And then you might have seen some of the wedding pictures. I was not to put the bride and groom and the bridesmaids up. That was, you know, that was a no-no. They wanted all of that bit private. That's fine. Some of the wedding guests, if they gave me permission, I was allowed to put them up. And there were some wedding guests there that I was having fun with. And you might have seen me with a big hat with a lot of feathers on it. Well, I'd got this in. I'd got this in, and I tried to balance the hat on top. And I didn't want to crush this. So I ended up taking this out of my hair and putting the hat on. But then when I'd taken that hat off, I wanted this back on because I was still dressed up for the day. You know, I wanted to stay dressed up right till 1 o'clock in the morning or whenever we finished. And so I got my granddaughter to clip it back in for me so that it wouldn't fall out, because look, it's a bit loose like this. And that was fine, and she did a good job. But when I went to bed that night, I was in a room on my own, and everybody else had gone to bed. There was a room on my own, and I had a real job to get it out of my hair because she clipped it in so well. I was actually, and you know, it's so difficult to. Also, I've got nails, you know, acrylic nails. It's so difficult to get out, and I had to end up pulling it and pulling my hair to get it out because I didn't want to leave it in when I went to bed because I would have ruined it. I would have crushed it. What a palaver! What a shenanigans! So that's the story. Oh, let's see if it'll stay in. Let's stay glammed up, shall we? There we go. Steve loves sparkle too. You can also make that with your crafts. I can make also. I probably could have made a paper hat. Actually, I used to sew. So when I at one point I wasn't sure about this, or perhaps I hadn't found it yet. No, I don't know. I was contemplating making. No, that's fine. I thought I wanted to wear a bigger hat this time, and I was looking at some bigger fascinator type things, and I was looking at how to make them, you know, and they were not difficult to make because I'm a crafter and I have done, you know, work with fabric and things. I was going to have a go, but I didn't need to because it was fine. So anyway, I'm going to have a swig of my coffee because I am getting a bit parched here. Whoops. Am I spilling my coffee? No, I didn't spill my coffee. I think I knocked something on the floor. Don't know what that was. Oh, that's good. So there we go. So yes. So there was a relevance, obviously, because the play was about Elizabeth Pack, because I had a story about Elizabeth Pack. I hadn't put two and two together, and it was one of the actors from Friday Night who'd been in the King Ubu, King of the Isle of Wight. He said, "Well, why don't you wear it tomorrow night?" Oh, you're still there, Heather. Excellent. Just crafting while you watch. That's wonderful. You're making 20 of the baskets and bunnies kit from Tony. Oh, brilliant for Easter dinner. Oops, hang on. Yes, my coffee is cold by now, actually, Tracy, but I don't mind cold coffee. So yes, so Heather's making Easter bunnies. She's talking about a kit that I've also got, that, you know, to make Easter bunnies and baskets. So I haven't made anything much. Do you know what? I've had the laziest day today. I kept thinking, oh, I must do some tidying, I must do some crafting and this and that, and I did practically nothing. I scrolled on my phone. I read some of this thing about the department store. I looked up some tutorial things on YouTube. Didn't do much else, but you know what? Don't know why I should feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. I've had a busy week, and I've got a day at home tomorrow. Tuesday's another busy day, networking. Can you show? Steve is saying, can you show them in the community page, Heather? Yes, let's see if you can send us some pictures, Heather. Are you still doing your Easter hat show next Cows Week? Next week? You put cows in there. I don't think you mean to put cows in there. Well, we should. Yes, I mean, I don't know. Anybody wants to make an Easter hat this week? You can send me pictures of them, and I can put them on my page. I'm not broadcasting on Sunday. I will be broadcasting on Monday, Easter Monday. So if you want to do hats for an Easter parade competition, let me know. I mean, you know, we haven't said much about it, so I don't know if anybody. I know Carol wanted to do it. Heather says when they're finished, she will post some pictures. Excellent, Heather. Yes, make sure I see them, Heather, then I can share them so everybody else can see them. So yes, let's have a go for an Easter hat. All right, anybody wants to make an Easter hat or send some Easter pictures or Easter cards or anything Eastery, let's see it all. But you know, we could you know, let's have a go. Let's see what anybody can do, but no pressure on anybody to do that. So anyway, Callum, who'd been Mrs. Ubu in the play the night before, he said, come to the theatre in your Elizabeth Pack outfit. So I did. I went to the theatre like this, and then at the end, and you know, while I was sitting, it was amazing. The theatre, it's just a room, and on Friday night they had the chairs one way round. Last night they had changed it, and it was slightly different. It's such a versatile room that they can make it, you know, fit with whatever they needed. They've got some rails on the ceiling, and last night they started, so the chairs were all round the room on every side last night, and the rails, they had curtains there, and there was a curtain, so when the play started, the curtains were shut around a circular stage. If you've seen the picture I put on my Facebook page of me standing in this outfit on a little stage, that was that's on my Facebook page. That was the stage, and so they'd got the curtains round, and so it was like a fitting room, absolutely like a fitting room. But you know, it was, they've put this play together. They've done so much research. There's the people, the guys who run the On the White media page. I've just discovered they've got a company called Meega, MEEGA, and they were the ones who interviewed. I think this must have been when I was recovering from pneumonia, because I can't understand how I missed all of this stuff going on, you know. And when I think back, I think they must have been doing the research in that time when I was recovering from pneumonia. And so Simon and Sally did interviewed loads of people who used to work in the store, people who used to shop in the store, all the memories. And there's something called Pax People. So, you know, on the website somewhere there's something called Pax People, and there are interviews with lots of people. I haven't listened to any of them yet. I shall be doing that, and just listening to what people had to say. But the play last night was put together with all the history that they'd uncovered and discovered, and people's memories. And I don't remember going in that store much. I obviously went in to buy this outfit. I can remember going in and looking at some trousers once. I don't know that I bought them. I think I went in and came out again. I do remember the grand staircase they had, because it was a 3-story building, and they had this grand staircase. And where the staircase was, they've now got this enormous shark, because the people who actually have taken on the running of the building are the Shade Makers. The Shade Makers, it's a carnival company, and they make these great these enormous carnival costumes that are amazing. And they were actually invited to perform it, and that we saw them in the Mall for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. You know, it doesn't get much better than that. We are so lucky to have these people here on the island. They go all over the country doing things, but they are based in Ryde, and it's wonderful to have them here. You know, we're so lucky, and they have so many ideas. And so, I mean, you know, I don't know yet all the people involved, and I've got to be careful I don't miss anybody out, but I've got to learn all the stuff, otherwise I will miss people out. But the Shade Makers are the ones who took on, and they've signed a long lease. And, you know, obviously they were very instrumental in going to get the funding and all that sort of thing, because it was massive. I think it was about 20 million. I might be wrong on that, but I know it was a lot of money and it's wonderful how they've restored the building, but they've restored it in such a way that they've got some original brickwork there. You know, I remember the home education lady actually touching the bricks and saying, "Oh, this is interesting, isn't it?" And she was fascinated. But you know, so there's so much of the original stuff there. It's wonderful. They've made an exhibition. When they were renovating, they found bits of leather and bits of fabric. They found some of the bags, you know, the bags that they would put the customers' goods in and that sort of thing. They found so much stuff they uncovered. It was amazing. And I didn't remember a lot about the store. I remembered going in and getting this, and I remembered being looked after by the lady, and I can remember a bit of how it was in the store. But I don't remember going in there a lot. It wasn't the cheapest shop, so that's probably why I wouldn't have been in there a lot. And there was a cafe called the Cafe Bean. And I do remember going in there. Well, but I don't remember eating flapjacks. But obviously they were renowned for their flapjacks, because in the play last night, it was a lot about flapjacks. And in some of what I've read today, they are planning to make sure they have flapjacks in their cafe now. So at the moment, they're doing drinks and cake. I didn't have cake when I went in. I took my own Slimming World stuff with me. I did have coffee in there. And but when the play was going on and they were talking about the cafe, and they were talking about how all the hangers must be just so, and this and that, and it was that sort of show, almost a bit, but not really, a bit like Are You Being Served? But you know, posh. It was posh. And the play, it was just so wonderful, because you got all the snippets of the poshness, but then the younger staff who perhaps were having a little natter about things over here. It was so fascinating. But as it was going on, it gave me more memories. It obviously unlocked my memory file, and I remembered a bit more about the store that I hadn't recalled until I watched the play. And it was just amazing. It was absolutely fascinating. And, you know, I think it was probably almost a sellout. I do know that earlier in the day, yesterday, I'd gone down into Ryde. So I spent, I spent most of the day in Ryde yesterday. Well, not early morning, but at about 11:30, I think I went down to Ryde. And I went to the further down the road. There's the Victoria Arcade, really beautiful Victorian building, and it's got lots of little shops in it. And there's down underground, there's the Museum of Ryde, and it's run by the Historic Ryde Society. But the trouble is, it's almost a secret squirrel, and nobody much knows it's there. And I'm very concerned that we might lose it if we don't get more visitors in. So I went to see Brian, because in the past I'd sort of tried to help them and tried to publicize it and put more out on social media. And I also told I was appalled when I heard that the Whitebid were putting a levy on them. They are a charity. They barely make any money. It's run by volunteers, and yet the Whitebid, Visit Isle of Wight, decided that they were going to levy them. Sorry, we can't have a conversation where Visit Isle of Wight doesn't creep in, because anyway, I spoke with Brian and I said, why are they charging you the levy? You're a charity. And he said, yes, and we don't get many visitors, so we have to wait weeks before we even get the money that Visit Isle of Wight want off us. So I sort of had this conversation and said, well, I don't think you should be paying it, you know. Anyway, he wrote a letter to them explaining that they were all volunteers, mostly septuagenarians, you know, those of us over the age of 70. I mean, I don't volunteer there, but I go and I support them. And so he wrote, and he did actually get the levy taken away, but they are still in crisis. You know, they're not enough people coming in. However, when I went to see him yesterday, one or two people did come in down there while I was there. And of course, it was good. Oh, hello, yes, you know, come on down, come and enjoy this. And there was a Polish chap came in, and ended up having a chat with him. And he said, oh, I live in Swanage. He said, I can see the Isle of Wight from Swanage. He said, but though I can see the Isle of Wight from Swanage, it takes me 8 hours to get to you. Because of course, you know, as the crow flies, it would be very quick. But of course, that's water, and he doesn't have his own boat. So he couldn't come that way. So it took him 8 hours, but he was here on holiday, and I was talking about obviously about the museum where he was. And then I said, oh, you know, obviously if he was interested in the museum, he might be interested in the department and the history behind that. So I said, oh, have you seen the department? And literally, Cross Street is here, and Union Street is here, and the arcade, the Victorian Arcade, is halfway down Union Street. So it's spitting distance from the department store. And so I thought, I can see in my mind, because I'm a networker and I'm a facilitator, and I bring people together. You know, this person needs to meet that person. Well, now in my head, and I've already spoken to Sharon, who's part of the Shade Makers group. You know, well, she's I don't know their titles, so I don't want to, you know, say, but she's at the top of the Shade Makers. And there's Paul I think it's Paul. I think Paul founded it, but I don't know. I've got to look into how all the hierarchy of the Shade Makers. They're just wonderful people, and I don't want to upset anybody by getting the information wrong. But they're absolutely marvelous, and what they do for the island is amazing. And I spoke to Sharon yesterday, and I spoke to Brian, and I said, you need to link up. Somehow we need to link people coming into Ryde to be able to go to if they like things like the museum, they'll like the museum, you know, it's the museum part of the department store, and then they'll probably have to have a cup of coffee, won't they? And then you know, we've got a shop as well. And I can see it as a great tourist thing, because at the bottom of Union Street, it's the seafront. Then there's the water, and then there's Portsmouth, and the hovercraft takes 10 minutes to get from Portsmouth to Ryde. And then these shops are like about a 10 or 10-minute walk. 10-minute walk from the hovercraft to the museum, and then a bit more. It is uphill, or you can get a bus and come round the other way like I do. I have free bus pass, so if I'm on the seafront, I get on the bus and I come back up by bus, because I get too puffed. But I can you see how it will link up? We can get tourists over from, if we get the marketing right, we could get tourists coming for the day, spending the day in Ryde. We've got lots of lovely independent shops in Ryde. We've got the museum there. We've got all sorts of things in Ryde. And then we've got the department store. And then they can go to the theatre. But the theatre shows are finishing in time for them to get back down to the seafront and get transport back to the other side. You know, I mean, the hovercrafts don't run that late. The fast cats run a bit later than the hovercraft, but it's in time that, so people don't have that we can market it as, come to the theatre, come for a day in Ryde, get a ticket to Ryde. You know, that well-known Beatles song. So hang on, let's just see. There must be some comments. So Tracy says she can show us a picture of her eating Easter eggs. Does that count? I don't know why not. It's an Easter picture. Let me make a reel of all the Easter themed pictures. Let's do that. Let's have an Easter themed pictures. Send them all to me and I'll make a reel, and we can have a fun reel of all the Easter things that the Go Live Granny community get up to, whether it's eating eggs or whether it's making hats or making cards and Easter baskets. Who knows? So re-warm it up in the microwave. Oh, my coffee? No, I don't need to, because you know what? I don't mind. If that's what you're talking about, I don't mind cold coffee. And I put flavour drops in my coffee. I've got cherry flavour drops in this coffee, and it's very nice. So I don't mind. Cold tea I don't like, but cold coffee's fine. Fantastic. So Andrew's saying, hope it works out for them and the local community and visitors use the venue and come along. Well, they're certainly starting to use the department, but again, the taxi drivers didn't know it. So its address is 29 to 30 Cross Street, so you can go in from there. And the bus stop I get when I've been in Ryde, and if I'm going home by bus, I get the bus. I sit on the bus seat right outside the store. But there is a better way in. Or there's a way in at the back. There's a car park at the back. It's the Co-op car park. There's a co-op, and it's like that. It's uphill, the car park. So the department is at the bottom of the car park. The Co-op is at the top, but I have to educate the Co-op the taxi drivers. If I'm in the taxi, that's okay, because I can say, well, we're going down to the bottom of the car park, and that's where department is. But they don't know it yet, because it's only not long been open. Last night when I rang the taxi and said, oh, I want a taxi in the Co-op car park, I forgot to say at the bottom of the car park. And of course, all the taxi drivers know is that the Co-op's at the top of the car park. There's nothing else in the car park as far as they know. And of course, my taxi, I had a ping on my phone to say my taxi had arrived, and I knew it must be right up the top. So I was standing talking to Bert. Bert was the Polish chap that I met in the museum, and he was fascinated, and he came to the show. You know, I obviously sold an extra ticket because I told him about the store, I told him about the theatre, and he turned up there. And so that was nice. So at the end, while I was waiting for my taxi, I was talking to him. And bless his cotton socks, he went to walk up to the top of the hill to tell the taxi driver where I was. Wasn't that lovely? And he's fascinated with the island, and I think he's contemplating moving here. So he will be a visitor to these things. So let's have a look. Glasgow has a theatre show on for around 30 to 40 minutes, all about the revolution of Glasgow area buses. in the style of Starlight Express with roller skaters. Oh, Andrew, that would be fascinating. Maybe a new venue for having craft classes. Oh, Andrew, we've already asked. You must have known what we were like. Jan, oh, that's right. I met Jan down there. Yes, so I now, Tracy said, reminded me I came back on Tuesday. Yes, of course I did, because on Wednesday I was meeting Jan in the department, and we went and had a coffee, and then we went and asked whether we would be able to hire a room there to do craft sessions. And yes, at the moment there's not a lot of bookings in there. Well, there's a dance school that's got a lot of things booked, but they have a dance studio. There's so much in that building. I think I need to do a live stream around that building. I certainly need. I've took a load of pictures the other day, and I will put a reel up, and I'll put a lot of the pictures so that you can see. But it's an amazing building. And Jan, of course, she used to run Isle Access, which was all about accessibility. So she was the one they consulted with about the accessibility of the building, and it is amazing. So from you can get in on the flat from the front. You know, that's from the pavement. There's no step up, but at the back there's steps, some shallow steps, but there's also a ramp. You know, not a slope up and round. There is a lift that will take a wheelchair plus the people with the person in the wheelchair. So it's a big lift. There are disabled toilets in there that are full size, you know, not squidgy toilets. So that's amazing. And one of the things, and I've said it before, that the cockles of my heart were melting. When I was on the mainland, I read something, and I read that the people at the department, so that's, you know, the team that are running it. So Joe Plum runs the Horsebox Theatre. So I think he's very instrumental. I think they're all working. They're obviously all working together. So there's the Shade Makers, there's the Horsebox Theatre. And the people from the department have offered the toilets to be public toilets, because we have this issue, like it is all over the UK, where toilets are not being looked after, they're being vandalized, and then nobody's repairing them, and nobody can go to the loo. So I was absolutely thrilled when I heard about this. Hang on, let's just. Hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth's come in. Sam's come in. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the comments. Wait a minute. Let's see. Community notice board or a fun board with information on it for tourists and locals. Absolutely, Andrew. Tracy's putting, this is the Shade Makers link she's just put in there. Could the Ferry and Hovard offer discounts in shops for tourists and visitors if you show a travel ticket in the shops? That's an interesting one, Andrew. I'll put it forward. On Tuesday, I've got a coffee meet with the mayor of Ryde, and he's very approachable. He's a lovely chap. I know him very well. And I saw him when I was sitting in the Ryde Time Bank coffee morning, because, of course, I told you that's in the NatWest building where the Ryde Town Council are based. And they'd obviously just had a meeting, and they all came out of their meeting room. And I said to Richard, oh, can we meet up? And he said, yes, I can do Tuesday. So I'm going to meet with him on Tuesday. And that's amazing, because I'm also going to, I've got some things to put to him. You know, I'm going to talk to him too about the museum, because our Ryde Town Council is very active, proactive, and they mostly sensible. I mean, I don't know all the councillors now, because I haven't been to one of their meetings for ages because I was ill and I stopped going. But maybe I'll start going to the public ones again. And but they're very forward thinking about, you know, and looking after the town. They were very good when Visit Isle of Wight wanted to introduce the bid and try and get the retail department, all the retail people added into the ballot. So they were working on trying to sneak that one in. I was on the ball, and I talked to the Ryde Town Council about it. And the next later on, it got knocked out. It didn't happen. And I said to Richard, you know, oh, you know, what happened? He said, well, we told them we didn't want it. And they were obviously very firm, because some of the businesses were already paying the levy. And if they introduced it as a town a town levy, I asked a question in a meeting and they wouldn't tell me. I said, if a cafe is already paying the levy under the tourism part, and then you put a town bid in, will you give them a second levy because they're part of the town? Anyway, they wouldn't answer. But anyway, it didn't happen. And our Ryde Town Council are very, very good. Excellent. And, you know, they want to do things that are good. So there are councils like that around. But unfortunately, the council, you know, the county council, no good. Rubbish. So there we go. Hello, Jean. Sam says, Jean, you're watching. So yes, I mean, I think, Andrew, I just think it's having those conversations and sort of linking people, you know, linking the right people together. That's what I do. I'm good at linking the right people together. I might not be good at actually doing the other bit, but if I link them up, I mean, I've done that in the past, and you know, because I used to run a network group. Well, I didn't run a network group because that was a skill I had of introduce. You know, I would introduce the florist to the dressmaker. You know, the wedding dress shop and that, because obviously, you know, weddings, you want all those same sort of people. I would see the man and van, and I would introduce him to the estate agent and say, look, you need to work together. So that's how my brain is wired. And I have had some great successes on it. And one of those successes is that somebody in my network group, and it's not necessarily who you introduce them to, it's how the ripples go. So I introduced Susan into my group, and she joined my network group, and I introduced her to Gary. And I don't know whether it was Gary who introduced her to the N1 or whether he introduced her to somebody who introduced her to somebody who introduced her. But she ended up doing work for Jimmy Choo, famous in the shoe industry, isn't it? Fashion, certainly the fashion. And, you know, that was all from just a little thing that happened here on the Isle of Wight. So, you know, people say, oh, these things can't happen. Yes, they can. You know, it happens in bite-sized chunks, and it's the little actions. You know, I mean, we helped win 50,000 lottery funding for a charity on the island, but it wasn't one great big massive. It was lots of us doing lots of sharing of posts and things. It was each of us doing something to achieve the massive goal. Lots of people working together. No I in team. It's all about teamwork making the dream work. You know, so although you know, it was my group and I introduced it to Gary, you know, everybody else is helping everybody else. So that's how it works. But you know what? I'm so delighted now because the shade makers are working and in collaboration with the Horsebox Theatre. They are in collaboration with Ryde Town Council. Years ago, I was the chair of Ryde Business Association. I never wanted to be because that role is not, I'm not good in that role. I'm good at the facilitating of what I do. I'm good at the social media. I'm actually not good at the organisational skills at the top. But the society was going to close. It was going to close down. And I thought, well, if I can stop it closing down and hold it until somebody else will step in the role, that's what I'll do. So I did that. But I can remember trying to get collaboration because that's how it works. Collaboration's the name of the game. But I remember a business chap in the business group, and he got cross with me. And he said, this is a business group. I'm going to take this off because it's falling out now. This is a business group. And what are we doing trying to involve the public? I thought, oh, what an idiot you are. What sort of businesses are you running? Where are you going to get your customers from? Have you thought that one out? It's probably the public that you want to get to sell whatever it is you sell. And he was such a pompous twit. I can't even remember who it was, but he was such a pompous twit. He knew much better than me, except, of course, my skill was networking. You know, letting know how you get on with the council in the morning. You're not holding out much hope. So Tracy is going to let the council know about the dodgy pavings where she fell over. And, you know, we were having a conversation online about this. And Tracy's younger than me, but it's still not nice if you're younger and fall over. But, you know, she said, supposing that had been me, and she wasn't being rude. This was not being rude. This is just factual. Supposing that had been me and I'd gone over. I don't walk very well to start with. And if I'd gone over, can you imagine? I mean, she's hurt herself. It's not nice for her, but obviously it might have been far more, you know, for a frailer, older person, could have been much more devastating, and just not nice for Tracy anyway. You know, she's not enjoying the experience of having fallen over. But anyway, hopefully they will do something. Hopefully they will go and repair. And if you've reported it and they don't do anything, we need to keep on at them asking, because I remember, and I should have been more proactive back then. I remember reporting something in Newport. Now Newport is where Julie Jones Evans is the councillor, and she's the one who is the tourism councillor as well, but she's also a councillor in Newport. And I reported to her about something, and she came and had a look. But I had a friend at that time who was in a wheelchair, and we've lost contact now. I don't know whether she's still around or what, but you know, on the island. But you know how sometimes you go your separate ways for just because life happens. Anyway, back then I think she was. I don't know if she was part of my network group. Anyway, I knew her. We used to see each other quite a lot. And she was crossing the road with the lights, you know, the green man came up. She went to cross the road outside McDonald's in Newport. And there were so many potholes in the road that she nearly fell out of her wheelchair. And I thought that was disgraceful. You know, you don't get long to cross the road anyway. And then for that to happen. So I reported it to Julie. And nothing, well, I think she went and looked down the pothole. But then nothing happened for a year, 2 years or something. I mean, I should have been actually much more proactive and just kept going on about it like I do now. But no, so it's not good enough because they're not looking after. Where's the duty of care? Tracy, use that as an expression. I don't know whether it will make a difference, but I know that when Visit Isle of Wight were summoning the guy who was suicidal, and then they issued him another summons, I wrote and said to them, what on earth are you doing? This guy's told you he's suicidal. If he commits suicide, you're not going to get the money anyway. What sort of people are you? And where is your duty of care policy? So it worked in that circumstance. They dropped the summons. But, you know, I'm not a great expert on the duty of care, but try it and say, you know, have they got a duty of care policy in place? See what they say. Luckily enough, you have pictures. You can see the slabs are dangerous on Google Maps, so there's more proof. Yes, so that's right. So Tracy actually looked on Google Maps, and she sent me pictures of the Google Map picture and her own pictures as to how dodgy that pavement is. And it's on the Esplanade in Cowes. It's a very busy area. It's not like it's tucked away somewhere where nobody much walks. Anyway, we've gone all around the houses to all sorts of things, but you know that's very important. So do that, and I hope you like my little history lesson tonight. But at the end, it was quite fascinating. At the end, the reason I was up and had my stood up on the little stage at the end of the show was because I was talking to some ladies about the outfit, you know, because we were all standing around there afterwards and people were discussing the show, and I said, you know, I wore this because it was relevant to tonight. And then I was telling them the story that I've just told you about how I couldn't get an outfit, and then I went in there and I was looked after, and I said how, you know, the actor had said wear it tonight. And then Jan said to me, because Jan was there with me, she said, well, we should be taking your picture. She said, get up on the stage and I'll take your picture. So she did. But of course, when she took a good picture, but I suddenly realized there were people in the background. But I used the blur facility I often see on my camera that it says blur the background. And I'd not done it before, but I managed to blur the background because there were people in the background who might not have wanted to be in the back of my picture, and I didn't have their permission. I didn't know who they were, so I blurred the background so you could see me standing on the stage there, and it was a nice picture. So very interesting. I'm sure you'll sleep well tonight after you're busy. I certainly will, Tracy. I'm sure I will. So yesterday, I went to the theatre, but I didn't tell you what the rest of the things I did yesterday. So oh yes, I did. I told you I went to the museum. So I went to the museum, but that wasn't all I did yesterday. So I booked, and I've been taking taxis because it's much easier for me sometimes. Sometimes I get the bus, but sometimes I just need to take a taxi because I get very tired, and that prevents me. So I got the taxi to the museum, and I booked a taxi to pick me up because I was going to somebody, a friend, somebody I've known for years. She was having a coffee afternoon, and it was for the volunteers of the Embracing Age charity. And it's actually, she's actually Barbara. She's been a friend of mine. We've been friends for years, and it was her daughter who set up the Embracing Age charity on the mainland, and then she brought it to the Isle of Wight. And I remember helping Barbara get the publicity out when they first came to the island, because of course that's one of the things I can do to help. Organizational skills, no. These skills, yes. I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at. And so I so the Embracing Age is a charity that's was set up, and it's a Christian charity. It works with the churches, and what they do is they connect with care homes, and they give support to people in care homes who don't have any family. So imagine, if there's somebody in a care home and they've got no family, well, they won't get a birthday card, they won't get a Christmas card, they won't get anything like that, they won't have any visitors coming to see them, etc., etc. So Tina, Barbara's daughter, had seen the need and set these up on the mainland, and then she, as I say, she came to the island to set them up here. She's actually retired as from the charity. I think she's still a trustee, but she's stepped back from running the charity. And it's a marvelous charity. But I can make they send cards to people in care homes, and I thought they were just sending them a birthday card and a Christmas card. No, they send them a card every month. Each person gets a card every month, and then at Christmas they get a card. They get presents. So some of it is about knitting, making presents. So obviously I can knit things that can be Christmas presents. They also have some dementia people that are part of the care home. So what I did, I responded to one of their requests. They wanted boxes of items to use with the dementia patients. So it was themed boxes. So I knitted a box of fruit, and I will knit a box of vegetables and things like that. So when the people when the staff are working with them, or when volunteers are working with them with these things, there's a point of conversation. They can talk around what's in the box. So the boxes were themed. They could be anything. They could have been animals. They could have been flowers. And I don't think they had to be. I'm not sure that they had to be knitted. I think they could have been put together in any way. Also, I haven't done them yet, but twiddle muffs are a great thing for people with dementia. So they like to fiddle with beads and fluffy bits, and you can make a muff that they can put their hands in, and they have bells and whistles. I'm not sure if there's whistles on there, but anyway, whatever. Do you feel like you had a productive weekend? You certainly. I do, Tracy. I feel like I've been home forever. I only came home on Tuesday, and I feel like I have got so much back to my health back. It took me 18 months to recover from pneumonia to a point where I felt better. because that's a long old recovery. So that was from Christmas 2022, around 23 and halfway through 24. And so, you know, about a year ago, I was beginning to start to feel normal, or as normal as I'm not normal. What is normal? But as near normal as I thought I ever was going to be. But of course, I've been on my Slimming World journey, and I'll tell you, if any of you want a heads up on your health, and you do have a few more pounds than maybe you want to, it is so worth putting the effort in. Your head has to be in the right place. I know I've done it, and then I put on weight. I put it all back on again because life happened. I am in a position where now I do not want that weight to go on. I feel so healthy. I feel far more health. I feel healthier than before I had the pneumonia. And it's given me that drive. It's given me that, you know, joie de vivre. It's given me that, you know, I'm a networker. And I love going out and meeting people. I love meeting up with you, you know, when we have our coffee dates, Tracy, and we're going to fix something else in the diary from when we both get back, you know, from our various trips. And we're going to meet up next time in the cafe in the department, so you can experience that, Tracy. I feel so well. I mean, I was tired today, and you know, I just allow myself to have a lazy day, because you know, if I don't, I'll burn myself out. You know, a few of your customers who are in various stages of dementia and Alzheimer's. Oh, that's not so nice, is it? It's so sad. It's sad, but you know, if you can do anything to make life easier for them, you know, or particularly for the people who care for them as well, then why not? You know, life is about being. If you can't be anything in this, if you can be anything in this world, sorry, got that wrong. If you can be anything in this world, be kind. You know, why not? And you know what? Being kind pays dividends. It's not why I'm kind to people. I was brought up to be kind and treat people nicely. But you do that, it just has a wonderful effect, because you get a whole whoosh coming back your way. I get so many kind people, you know, to me. I mean, like last night, I met Bert earlier in the day down at the museum. I told him about the play. He came up to the play. He loved it. He was really grateful. He was chatting to me, and then I said, "Oh, my taxi's up the top there." And I actually did ring the taxi company to tell him to come down, but by this time Bert had already walked up there. And you know, how kind was that? He didn't need to walk up that hill to that taxi to do that for me. It was just so nice. People are always I mean, all of you love people come in here. You're all nice to me. We haven't had any trolls for a long time. I expect we'll get some at some stage, but you know, you're all so nice. And you know, you even put nice things on my page and said, you know, how nice I looked when I dressed up like this and that sort of thing. And you're nice to my community. You know, that's it's just wonderful. That's what, as my dad used to say and my gran used to say, it warms the cockles of my heart. So Heather says she, wait a minute. Oh, hang on. Tracy says I certainly look better in person. I do, and I feel so well. But I don't push myself too hard. You know, I can walk up Union Street and it's steep, but sometimes I think, no, don't wear yourself out like that. You've got a bus pass. You can get on the bus and come round and up. You know, not have to walk up. I would do it sometimes, but you know, I'm looking after myself. Probably for the first time in my life, because I always looked after everybody else, but not me. But Heather says she's released 13 pounds. Oops, hang on. Since Christmas. You're excited to wear your dress for your brother's wedding as the stand-in mum. That's amazing. And we want to see those pictures, you know, after the event. Do let us see, Heather, because we'll be looking forward to seeing that. Tracy's saying, and on camera, not being rude, that you don't look good on camera. If I'm rude, I'll lose my gold stars. Yes, you will. You'll have to give them back to me. I can't imagine you being rude, Tracy. You've been so nice and so kind to me for such a long time. I can't really. Mind you, having said that, Have any of you had those sort of friends that you were friends with for a long time, and then all of a sudden they decided they didn't like you, and you hadn't done anything, or you didn't know that you'd done anything to be like that? Well, one of those people was in that coffee, that get together yesterday afternoon. So I didn't finish telling you. So I got a taxi round to another part of Ryde to go for this wonderful get together, an afternoon get together. It was a thank you to the volunteers for the Embracing Age. So, and I'd missed the two previous ones. One of them, I think I'd sort of forgotten about it, but actually at the time I was on the mainland, so I couldn't have gone. And I thought when I got when I got back, I thought it hadn't happened yet, and I messaged them, and they said, "Oh no, it was on Saturday." And I said, "Oh well, I was away. I couldn't have come anyway." So, but you know, I like to go to those things. It's nice to meet new people. And in fact, I met somebody new yesterday, and she did a great kindness, because at the end of the event, I didn't book my taxi to go back because I wasn't quite sure. I knew it was supposed to finish about 4:30, but I thought, you know, supposing we're chatting and it runs on a bit, it would be nice not to have to go out in the middle of a conversation. So I hadn't booked my taxi. When I rang to book my taxi, when I realised, you know, we were going to be finishing by 4:30, the taxi couldn't come for till about 20 to 5. That didn't matter because Barbara wouldn't have kicked me out, but I was just politely saying, "Oh, I'm going to have to hang around if that's okay till my taxi comes." I said I can wait outside, and the lady next to me said, "Can I give you a lift home?" She wasn't even going the same way as me, but it's a small island. That's what she said. She said, "Well, I'm going to God's Hill, but I can take you." She didn't even know where I lived at that point. So what a kindness, you know. And I just met her, you know, yesterday. She sat next to me, and we didn't do very well in the quiz. There were some quiz sheets, and it was Embracing Age quiz night that I went to with you, Susan. I don't know, Susan, if you're still in the broadcast, but Susan and I and a friend of Susan's, we went to a quiz night for Embracing Age because they've got some tickets left, and we thought, well, we'll go and support. And we named our team "We're Just Here to Make Up the Numbers," or something like that. That was the name of our team. And that's basically what we did, because we were not good. We were not good. If there was a wooden spoon for a booby prize, we would have won it. But, you know, we had a lot of fun. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about having fun. So anyway, Ruth and I, we did not come top. But also, you know, what I was saying was there was somebody in the room who used to be a friend of mine, and we used to do charity work. And then one day, just for some reason, she was stroppy to me. And I tried to, you know, find out why. And, you know, one day she gave me one excuse, and then another time I asked her, you know, I said, well, I don't get this. Can we meet over coffee? And then she said, she gave me another excuse. So I thought, I don't even know if she knows why she doesn't like me, but that's her, you know, that's her loss. If she don't want to be my friend, I would talk to her, but if I see her out, I don't, because she's the sort she would see it as me provoking her if I talked to her. And I don't want to provoke her, don't want to make her feel like that. So we managed, you know, we were in the same room, but we just dealt with who we dealt with, and it was fine. And no problem. So hang on, let's go. So Heather's saying she had to put her mum in assisted living in March because she's got dementia. Oh, sorry to hear about that, Heather. I hope that she's being well looked after, though. Yeah. So, and you see, I like, you know, what I like about my community is when they join in these conversations. And, you know, Steve is saying he's sorry to hear that. It's just nice. This community is so lovely. And I've been just watching some of the live streams I did in COVID, and we had a lot more people in then, but it doesn't matter. You know, people come for a season, you know, and needs changed. And in COVID, lots of people had a need to you know, to link together like this. Now, you know, lots of them have gone off and done other things. I don't take that personally. You know, it's nice that some of you come here. If you don't, then I won't live stream. But, you know, even if there's just a few of you, I will live stream because we have lots of fun, don't we? And it's, you know, you come and support me and it's nice and I love it. And then hopefully I help you as well. Oh, Tracy's saying, yes, she has, and it's their loss. It absolutely is their loss, you know. And I haven't stopped being a giggly granny. Just because she didn't want to be a giggly granny with me, I thought, well, I'm not going to stop being a giggly granny. I don't call myself a giggly granny. I've got the title Go Live Granny now. And that was given to me by somebody who said, well, you go live, you should be called the Go Live Granny. It does what it says on the tin. Yes, so Steve's saying he's had one of those types of friends recently. And, you know, I think the more you try and find out about it, the more puzzled you become, because I really don't get it. But you know what? I'm not going to waste my time worrying about why, because I've got more people to meet, more fun to have, you know. So don't stress on those things, because let's move forward and find some more nice people. Susan's still there. Yes. So yes, Susan, do you remember that quiz night when we were useless? We were useless at quizzing. Some of us were not so useless at eating chocolate, but that wasn't me. Well, no, it was so hard to resist, because, you know, they were so looking after the quizzers that they put all these wonderful treats on the table, and each table was a table of 6, except, oh no, I think 2 tables had only got 3 on. There were only 3 of us, but they still put enough chocolates and sweeties and things as though there were 6. And I was on my weight loss journey. I pushed them all up Susan and her friend's end. I said, no, you have those, because I don't want to be tempted by them. But you know, it is what it is. So Tracy's saying, so did the person that I was friends with long years ago talk to you or say? No, she suitably avoided me. I didn't want to sort of look across at her much in case it upset her. And I didn't want her to end up in a paddy or spoil her afternoon or anything. So I was, you know, I was conscious, and I looked at all the other people around the room. But no, she definitely was not going to say. It was clear from her body language that she wasn't going to talk to me. So I didn't provoke. I didn't. If she'd wanted to talk, I would have said hello. I mean, I did try and have a conversation with her when all this nonsense happened, and I didn't know. And I said, "Oh, well, you know," because actually she'd written me a not very nice letter, and I just wanted to just try and, you know, people write horrible letters. That doesn't matter. But I wanted to find out whether there was anything I could do, because she'd clearly got a problem and she was stressing about it. And I just didn't know if there was anything I could do to help. So I always try and solve a problem like that. I had somebody in my network group, a chap who was incredibly rude to me. And I said, let's meet for coffee, because that's my standard go-to. If somebody's got a problem with me, let's sit down and have coffee and chat about it. And so I met him in a cafe that was actually run by one of my members of my network group. Fortunately, there was hardly anybody in the cafe. And I say that because of his behaviour, not because of mine. So he was already there. I got in the cafe. Fortunately, nobody else was around. And as I say that is because the way he behaved. So when I got in there, he was standing up. And I said, oh, you know, why don't you sit down? Because, you know, that's a thing. That's a body language thing. I'm going to tower over you. I'm going to power above you. You know, that sort of thing. I had a parent do it in school once. They were really angry with me, and they stood up like this. And I said, well, why don't you sit down? And I had another woman who had, she'd been rude to me, and I sent her a letter, and she came round to my house, and she was waving this at me, and she stood. She was a big lady then, and she stood like a ship in full sail. And I said, oh, I'll talk to you when you sit down with me. Why don't you sit down and then I'll talk? Because then, you know, they're trying to power over you. Well, it doesn't work with me. They should know that by now. And this so the guy in the cafe who'd been rude to me, he wasn't going to see eye to eye. He knew far better than I knew about anything, whatever. And so he got cross, and he stormed out of the cafe. That just shows you the sort of person I was dealing with. And Jeanette, who was running the cafe, she said, "Oh, what was that?" I said, "That was an ex-member of my network group who got cross and left." and the thing was, he runs a network group as well. So it doesn't matter. There can be lots of network groups around, because the more of those sort of things, the better for everybody, and not every network group suits everybody. My way of networking in a very free and informal network group does not suit the people who like the sit down and we'll only have one plumber or one accountant in this group. You see, I believe that this is my personal belief, in network groups, you should network with anybody. The more the merrier. But these groups where they have one plumber or one decorator or one driving instructor, supposing you're in that network group and you don't happen to bond with that driving instructor, you'll need a different one. So I just don't get why they limit it, because it's not the best way of networking. But that's my opinion. And I did it another way, and I had a lot of success. And it's this competition business. I don't get it, because I was talking to Michael, who runs the Dorset Hotel, some years ago, and he's of the same opinion as me. And so he would, if he wouldn't not recommend another hotel just because he was a hotelier. So he would see it that supposing his hotel was full and somebody wanted a recommendation, he would recommend the hotel a bit further up the road, because he couldn't accommodate the visitor. But it's much better that the visitor stays locally on the Isle of Wight in our area than go and take their money somewhere else. And and it will work the other way, because when that hotel is full, they'll recommend him. It's not rocket science, but some people seem to think it is. Heather said she was able to find a luxury assisted living facility that works with them to try to maintain their lives as long as possible. That's wonderful, Heather. Sounds like you did some very good homework there, and you were lucky enough to find a good place. So that's good. And that must be comforting for you to know, obviously, as well, that she's being well looked after. One of the characters on Coronation Street has just sadly started a journey where she will get dementia. Oh, that's very sad. I'm not a Coronation Street watcher, so I don't know, but yeah, it is sad. Steve's saying that's good, but I think he's saying that's good to Heather rather than to you, Andrew. I think he was saying the previous statement. It was a great night, though, Susan. It was a great night. We had a wonderful time that night, even though we got the lowest score. We didn't care. We had a giggle. You can always have a giggle. So Steve says he's also met a lot of arrogant people, mostly gay, who think they can talk down to you and how they please Alf. Sorry, wait a minute. Mostly gay, who think they can talk down to you and how they please. Alfie's had that too. It's not okay. We're all equal in this world, but some seem to think they're more equal than others, don't they? The moment they find out you don't like them, it shocks them. Well, that's tough luck, and I don't ever try to be somebody I'm not. What you see is what you get with me. Some people put on airs and graces, don't they? And they try to be, so like that, but not me. This is it. This is the true me. I couldn't keep up a pretense anyway. It wouldn't work. I'd let myself down. So there we go. So anyway, so did I finish telling? Oh yeah. So yesterday afternoon, I went to this lovely afternoon. It was nice. They had cakes, but I stuck to my Slimming World journey. I took. Oh no, sorry. That's not entirely true. I had one piece of Barbara's tea cake. She'd made some tea cakes specially. There were other cakes that were bought in. So I had one slice of her tea cake, and then I stuck just to my drink. And I, with the Slimming World, I can do what I like. There's no rules and regulations that say I must stick every day to everything on the plan. I do it mostly because I want to, but every now and again I will think, do you know what? And when I was at my son and my daughter-in-law's wedding, I had 3 slices of wedding cake because I could and because I wanted to. So, life would be so boring if you didn't, if you didn't do those things. But I actually love so much of what I can have for Slimming World. I mean, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, and there's so much that you can eat. I never go hungry. If you look at the plates of food I put up, you'll see I never go hungry. So there we go. Let's I've no more comments yet. So I went there, and then Ruth very kindly gave me this lift home because my taxi was going to be longer, and so that was really nice. And then so I just rang the taxi company and said, I don't need a taxi now, but I do need one to go to the theatre tonight. So they just amended the booking, and so I had my taxi to take me down to the theatre. And so I went home. I did various bits and pieces at home. I probably had some tea or something like that. And then I went to the theatre. I went down to the theatre at 7. And my taxi came at 7. So I was there about 7:10, 7:15. And the show didn't start till 8. But I was deliberately there early because I thought, well, I'll go and support them in the cafe. So I'll go and have a cup of coffee or something. And Jan was going to meet. She was going as well, and so she was coming down. We were going to meet in the cafe, and then I saw somebody I hadn't seen for ages. This is I feel like I'm blooming at the moment because I'm meeting lots of friends from the past, and my life has become a bit like it was before I was ill, where I was always out meeting people. I mean, I don't want to go out so much that I make myself ill or anything like that, but it's sparks of that old thing, but without getting too tired, being sensible about it. And that's why I'll have the taxis and things like that. But I'm really enjoying things at the moment. It's just so nice. So Tracy's saying, wait a minute, hang on. What's Tracy saying? I take it you didn't lose your Slimming World bar yesterday. Had I lost my Slimming World bar before? I know I did lose my Slimming World things before. Oh yeah, I'm always losing. I put them and then I forget where I've put them. No, I didn't lose my Slimming World bar yesterday. Steve saying his doctor wants to speak to him the week after next because his cholesterol has not gone down any further. I feel like I'm going up in front of the head teacher. Well, don't look at it like that, Steve. Look at it like it's somebody who cares about your health. Reframe your brain and think he's trying to help me. Try and think of it in that way. I mean, it's not always easy. It's all right for me to say that, but you've got to do what you do. But take it from me, I am feeling so well. I was borderline for diabetes before, and obviously I've shot that right out the window. Heather saying, "Oh, for scolding, Steve." Yeah, just think of it. I mean, I hope your doctor's not like that, and you must do this. I hope it's a caring doctor where you can actually feel that actually he really cares and wants to help you. I know that when I started Slimming World, I was happy to talk to the doctor about it because I got 12 lessons, 12 Slimming World weeks for, was it 12? I think I got 12 Slimming World weeks free. Didn't cost me anything because it was a health thing then, and now I don't mind paying. I think for general members it's $5.95 a week. For pensioners, I think it's about $5.60. I always do a countdown, so you can buy six a group of 6 tickets, 6 weeks or 12 weeks. And when they do those 12 weeks ones, they usually put a cookbook with it. So I've just started a new countdown now, but I bought it a few weeks ago because there was this offer that if you bought a countdown by a certain date, you would get this new cookbook free. And I like the free word, as you know, when I do my top cash back and all these things I get. And actually, funnily enough, I'm looking out into my hallway, and there's the word free. I've got a ring light there, and again I was trying to use the ring light to light me, but it still was putting the light in my shining in my glasses. But it was a ring light on a tripod, and it's got the word free on it because it was out a few months ago. It was outside, and it was I know the people whose house it was outside. It was on the pavement outside, and it said free, so it was obviously free to take away. And I bought it away because it's a sort of thing that goes with my camera equipment and that. But it's standing there, and it's got the word free on it, as I'm saying. But yes, so but no, so Slimming World. So what I was going to say was, Slimming World, if you think of it, don't think of it, oh my goodness, I can't afford £5 something a week. I was spending more than that on things I shouldn't be eating. It wouldn't just be one bar of chocolate, it would be more than one bar of chocolate, and it wasn't just a little bar of chocolate, it would be a big bar of chocolate, whatever. So I'm not having all those things now. I'm spending that money in a much more sensible way. I'm also meeting new people, and I have a bigger circle of friends now, and it's really nice. And I've switched my membership from my group here at in Ryde to my daughter's group. And the only reason I switched that's my main group. I mean, I tend to be there more than I'm here at the moment anyway. But you can go to any Slimming World group if you're a Slimming World member. That you can just go in anywhere. But I couldn't buy a countdown and get the free book at my daughter's. And I was there. That's where I needed to buy it because that's when it was going to run out. And I couldn't do that unless I was a member in that group. So I switched so that I could get my bargains. I do like a good bargain, as you know. So, so hang on. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Tracy's reminding me I lost my hi-fi bar when I was in Yale. So I thought that's probably what you're referring to. I suddenly had a thing that I might have lost it then. I lost one the other day as well, but I found it. So Andrew's saying, no, wait a minute, hang on. Andrew's saying, did you hear there's a new hi-fi bar coming, mango and passion fruit flour? Yes, I heard that, but I don't think that's going to be as nice. I do like, so I have to have the gluten-free hi-fi bars because I do have a skin reaction to gluten. So I try to stick to everything gluten-free. And so I have the triple chocolate hi-fi bars and the fruit nut hi-fi bars, and the Rocky Road I think is gluten-free. The Rocky Road is delicious. So that's a new one. That's on trial. So I can't have the peanut butter one because that is not gluten-free. The others are not. So I don't know whether the new one is going to be gluten-free or not. Do you know? But it doesn't sound as exciting. I might trial them and see what they're like. But so those of you who don't know, we're talking about a hi-fi bar. It's like a little cereal bar, and it's one of the things I can have if I have it. If I have it and count it as sins, it's 3 sins. Okay, it's a little hi-fi bar, and if I as my healthy B choice. Your B choices are your things that are good, that keep your system going. Keep your regular system going. So that would be things like oats and all your breakfast cereals and things like that. But a lot of those I can't have because they're not all gluten free. But I can have gluten-free bread, and when I'm at my daughter's, occasionally we'll buy a loaf of gluten-free bread, and I can have 2 slices of the loaf I buy for my B choice, and I will toast those and put Bovril on those. But that's not as nice as two hi-fi bars. So Steve Doctor is a nice young chap. He's not slim himself, Heather. Oh dear. So Heather wonders what the doctor's cholesterol is. So Steve says, I know, I'll ask him to be tested too. Mind he doesn't fall out with you, Steve, though. You don't want to rub him up the wrong way if he's your doctor. You could just tell him that you both can work on it together. Yes, that would be nice. Yes. Well, you could say so when my daughter joined Slimming World, that's when she encouraged me to do it. And you know what? It was so much easier to do it in tandem with somebody. You know, I know that some husband and wife teams do it together, and I think they find it much easier. We've got some people in the group who maybe the wife comes to the group and the husband might sometimes do the cooking or the shopping, and he'll buy all the wrong things or whatever. So, you know, it's not so easy then. But anyway, so Steve's saying it's a good idea that you should work on it together. He's joking. This is just between us. Absolutely. I won't tell if you don't. Of course, it's terribly secret here, isn't it? Not that the whole world could find my live stream and look at them. I don't think the whole world is going to come and look at my live streams, but, you know, they are out there public. And, talking of live streams and saying they're all public, at the moment I have a huge amount of live streams on my YouTube channel that are not public. They're private. But what has happened, Facebook, in their wisdom, sorry, this is all I've sat down at a funny angle and I've been doing this all night. This is all falling off my shoulder. It doesn't do that when I'm standing up or sitting. I don't know what I've done there, but anyway, please forgive me because I keep doing that. So I've forgotten what I was saying. What was I saying? Somebody remind me what I was saying. I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's have a... Oh, I know, private messages. Hang on. So when I first started live streaming 10 years, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, can't remember. It was a long time ago. Just trying to think. I know I did live streaming 2016. Was I live streaming or was I just videoing before that? I can't remember. Anyway, it's a long time. And of course, sometimes through COVID, I was live streaming every night. But I think by then I was using StreamYard. So I was live streaming to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So if I was doing that, YouTube, they will be on YouTube as well as Facebook. But before that, I was doing a lot of live streams. Sometimes I'd live stream in the morning, I'd live stream in the afternoon, I'd do another live stream in the evening. I wasn't live streaming 3 hours at a time then, but, you know, I might do a 20-minute one in the garden and then whatever. And so there are a lot of live streams. And it was always used to be Facebook to start with. And then Facebook, in their wisdom, have decided that they are going to delete all the live streams at the beginning of July. I think it might be about the 9th of July. I'm not quite sure. Wow. So that is an awful lot of work for me to do, to work out which ones are already on YouTube, and then which is a nightmare, then to try and download all the ones that are not on YouTube and get them up to YouTube. I mean, what I've been doing is downloading them and saving them in Google Photos first. If I download them and load them up to YouTube, that's going to take longer to get them onto YouTube. My fight is to get them down off Facebook before Facebook delete them. I can start loading them up to YouTube after the 9th of July if I but the important thing is to get them down because they're such fun. And, you know, and they're a memory. You can save them though, Lynn. Facebook are going to give you that option. Are they? But they said they're going to delete them. So I started downloading them, and then I was doing it one at a time, you know, and so you had to go on, you had to click the three dots, and then you had to push download button, and then you had to watch to see when it had downloaded, because if you looked away you didn't know if it had downloaded, and then you'd have to go to Google Photographs to see if it was saved over on, you know, over there. So no, so I was downloading them onto my phone, wasn't then, and then putting them, yeah, whatever, I can't remember, I was doing all that. And then I thought there must be a quicker way. So I have got my Go Live Granny page, I've got my Lynn Blackledge personal page, I've got my Isle of Wight.live page, I've got my White Buzz page, which was my network group, and they've all got live streams on them. But the one with the least was the White Buzz page. So I looked and had a fiddle around, and I found something that said you could download them all together. Well, there weren't very many of them, you know, probably less than 20 on there, because, you know, that was early on and not many went on there. And so I downloaded, you know, I clicked the download button on all of them, and then I could see the little wheels going round and round and round, and they were, you know, whirring away. And then all of a sudden they had all downloaded, and then everyone came up with an error message. So that wasn't very helpful. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to keep trying to do that. I'm just going to carry on doing them one at a time. So I haven't done any today, but, you know, the other day I sat and did loads, you know, and that was good. But also what I found this week too, I don't know why, but my phone would normally, you're going now, so night all, lovely evening, thank you, Lynn, you're welcome, Tracy, see you. It's when it's Monday next week, but I think that you might not be tuning in, Tracy. I think you might be busy, mightn't you? So Steve says he's looked it up about Facebook. So you think Facebook will contact you before deleting them? Okay, well, I'm not going to take the risk of not having downloaded a lot of them, and then finding that I've got 2 days to download about 1,000 videos. I think there might be more than 1,000. I've no idea, because I was doing them, you know, I was doing all the carnivals, I was doing all the events, and then I was live streaming down on the seafront, then I might be live streaming in somebody's shop and all these things. I did so much of it. So I'm not going to take that risk, Steve, but if you do find out any more information, please let me know. If there's a way, but since when I use StreamYard, I'm live streaming to Facebook and YouTube, so I don't need to worry about these ones, because this will stay on YouTube. Tonight's broadcast will stay on YouTube, so even if it deletes from Facebook, it will still be there. But actually, you see, if I download those others, they will be in Google Photos and on YouTube. So if anything happens in the future, they'll be there. You know, and I say to my children, you know, when I'm gone, you can still have me. You know, and they look at me with that funny sort of look. Oh, Mum. I think they were as much to say, when you're gone, that's it, we don't want you anymore. That's not true. They all miss me. They all miss me when I'm gone. Right, so Steve's off to bed now. Night. So I think I'm going to wind up in a minute. But yes, so no, it's been a lovely week. You know, I'm feeling very well. I'm looking forward to going. I'm going back to my daughter's on Wednesday, and then we are having a little holiday, and that's why I won't be live streaming on Sunday. So that's there are 11 of us. Unfortunately, 2 members cannot be with us, but that doesn't matter, because I will do something with those 2 members another time. I will make it up to them. I've done it's my treat, this little break, but I will do something with the others another time. So sweet sleep. So night, Heather and Kath. Oh, so Heather and Kath still. Oh, we can chat on if Heather and Kath are still here, and I think Susan's still here, isn't she? Oh yes, there's a few of you still here. Good morning, and also night, Hazel. Oh, did Hazel come in? Oh, Hazel, I didn't see you come in. Sorry. Lovely to see you, Hazel. Good morning over there in Australia. So we've been having a good old chit chat. about all sorts of things. I've had a wonderful week, Hazel. Well, a wonderful. I haven't been home a week, but by the time I go back on Wednesday, I will have been home a week, and I've been catching up with lots of people, lots of blasts from my past, which is lovely, and all sorts of good things. Yes, Susan's still there on Facebook. Most of you are YouTubers tonight. There will be 24 here on Easter Sunday. Oh, you're going to be busy on Easter Sunday. So, Kath is saying, night, Steve, Heather, and Lynn, and the Facebook listeners. Good night, Kath. So, sweet sleep and pleasant dreams, Kath. Yes. So, I had planned to do a bit of crafting while I was home, but so far all I've done is cut out a few shapes while I was waiting for the kettle to boil. I thought, oh, I'm just going to get that blue shiny card. It was nice and shiny, and I thought I'm going to cut some shapes out that ready to put on a card. I don't know what card I'm going to make, but sometimes I just do that. I cut out shapes and put them in a box, so I've got all sorts of things. So I cut out some blue shiny bows, and I cut out some blue shiny flowers, and what else did I do? There were a few different shapes there that I cut out. So that was nice. I want to be doing some craft, but I also wanted to be doing nothing. I couldn't make up my mind. So that was okay. So tomorrow it's a day at home, and I don't know whether I shall craft, whether I shall tidy, or whether I should do very little. I've been watching some tutorials to do with the Cricut machine, because although the Cricut machine is at my daughter's, I've got the Brother machine here, which is similar, and I really need to do some stuff with those, but don't need to make myself do those. Hello, freeze it part like style. Hello, fancy seeing you here. So yes. Yes, I don't know what I'm going to do, but on Tuesday I have a very busy day, and then I'm going back on Wednesday. But the journey back the other day, no shenanigans. That was really good. Really helpful members of the passenger assist teams on the trains, and then something's just come up. It says add effects using hand gestures. Turn on reactions to express yourself with a hand gesture during a video call. Go to Control Center, tap video effects, and then reactions. Ooh, I don't know how to do that. If I do that, I might cut you all off. Wait a minute, what's this? Turn on reactions. I don't know where. Go to Control. I don't know where the Control Center is. I could start doing things. I don't know. I think perhaps I better not play about with that. I better have a look at that when I'm not on live stream. Let's turn that off. I wonder what it will do. I like you so much. I'm glad you like me. That's nice. I was talking just now about some people who didn't like me, but I'm not going to lose sleep over the people who don't like me. We can't all like everybody. As my gran used to say, there's some you like and some you like a lot more. And that's just life. I mean, I do find that there are more. Well, I'm coming across more unkind people than I used to, and I think the world's changed since COVID, and I think there are more of those people, but there are still a lot of really nice people about. And that's where I concentrate. I'm not going to give my time and energy to those ones who are not very nice. It's not worth it, is it? But I think, and I don't know if Andrew's still in here, but earlier on he said about the crafting I just remembered, I don't think I answered this properly, Andrew. He said about maybe doing some crafting in the new the department. It's a community hub. It's a cultural hub, but it's like a community hub. And Jan and I were down there on Wednesday because we wanted to talk to them about running a craft club there, and doing some crafting for charity. So and of course crafting, card making was also what I do. When I was talking about the thank yous for the volunteers for the Embracing Age, not only was I doing the knitting for gifts for the Embracing Age charity, but I also make them cards. They do have groups where they have lots of people sitting card making together, but I often just make cards quickly in my own time when I can and donate them to them, so I actually don't need to go to a group. The other crafting I was doing was I was teaching other people to do it. But you know, I'm loving my crafting, but I need to get on and do it. But I'm so untidy. I need to make a space first, and then I you know, I do some crafting, and then I'm untidy again. So then I have to clear it up again before I can start again. But you know, there was no rush. I used to spend my life at 90 miles an hour, you know, doing this and doing that, and I'd always have to rush here, and I think I was brought up like that. My parents were like that. And you know, and now I've learned to put the brakes on and not go at that super speed. I still think I achieve quite a lot, but I don't need to go at that speed anymore. You know, just slow down and enjoy the ride. So there we go. Oh, Andrew's still here. Yes, wonderful, excellent. If you have space, you could display items for people to look at. Yes, and do you know what? We might even be able to make some. I think Jan is thinking about making some things for charity, but I'm not quite sure which charity, because she's not running the Isle Access unless we do it. And the Isle Access charity, she's done years of work and nobody's picking up on it. But she's retired from it. The cycling is still carrying on. The cycling for people with disabilities, and the swimming is still going. People have picked that up, but the other bit hasn't. And I'm just hoping that somebody does pick up on all the work she's done. But I don't know, you know, I forgot to say, if we're doing it for charity, which charity are we doing it for? So I'm clear if people ask me, but we could do some things. They might want stuff to sell on behalf of the, you know, the Shade Makers it's a CIC company, you know, so it's a community interest company. So it might be that they need to, I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing. Oh, that was a big word, wasn't it? Is the Newport one still? No, it's not, Susan. We've knocked that one on the head. Sorry. I could, you know, I haven't been able to get there very often, and then Jan, there was issues, and then Jan resigned, so she was going to give up everything. And actually, you see, we both live in Ryde, so it's much easier to go to Ryde. And I don't know. I didn't really question Jan on it, but it was just a suggestion, and I went with it. You know, if the hub have space, you could display items for people to look at from what's made at Craft Club. Yes, I'm not sure. I mean, you know, we're going to have those conversations. That's what Zoe said when we spoke to her about it. She's the general manager, and she said, let's have the conversation. Send me an email what you want to do, which is at Jan's. I think Jan might have already done that, and then she can put it to the people, you know, who make the decisions, and see what happens. But at the moment, you know, there's a lot of free space there because nobody much knows about it. But I expect once it gets known, there will be lots of people wanting to hire the room. But, you know, if we have got in and said, right, well, we want to be there on a Wednesday morning at this time, and, you know, we've got that as a forward booking. If it works, it works. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. But you know, I'm looking forward to doing it in there as well. It's much easier for me if it's there. So that's a shame, but thought that must have been the case. Yes. Well, it was just difficult for Jan, and also we stored our stuff there, but we had stuff stolen from there. They wouldn't let us. We couldn't have anywhere to lock our stuff away. They were going to let us do that, and then they didn't. I don't know all the ins and outs because I wasn't in charge of running the group. So Jan would know more about that. But anyway, you know, Sam, who used to come to the group, she wants to come to the. She's got a car, so she's quite happy to come over to Ryde. I think we might be changing the day. I think for her Friday wasn't so good, and so we might be changing the day. So for me, it doesn't matter. For me, it's only about whether I'm on the island or not. So it just, sometimes I will be and sometimes I won't be. So it's just like that. But as I say, I'm here till Wednesday. I'm going on Wednesday, and then, oh, and did I tell you folks that I don't know if I told you, I might have told you that it was coming, but I have had a refund for that that time when I was left on the platform and didn't get on the train. So I will just re-reference that for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. You know, when I'm late and have shenanigans on my journeys, if the train is more than 15 minutes late getting to my destination, I can get a refund. So it's a part refund if it's less than an hour, and if it gets to the hour, it's a full refund. Well, back in January, I went to see my son who lives in the east of the country, and I didn't want to go through London, so my train went from Wiltshire. Where I went from my stop to Bristol Parkway, then from Bristol Parkway to Birmingham, and from Birmingham across to where I was going. And when I got to Bristol Parkway, there was some shenanigans. And I could basically, long story short, I couldn't get on the train. They wouldn't let me on the train. They said there was no room, even though I'd had a booking on the train. There was no room for me and my Navy Nora, my walker, my wheeled walker. And so I got left on the platform. Everybody else got on the train except me. So of course I put in for a refund. But of course, when they checked, they said, but the train wasn't late. It was only 1 minute late to its destination. So I then messaged them back and said, yes. And so when I found out how to message them back, because it wasn't very easy. Oh, yes, I know. I think I got an email and it said you can contest it. But it only wanted you to go back onto the website and correct the times of the train. Well, I couldn't correct the times of the train because I put in the train that I was booked on that they wouldn't let me on. And so in the end, I managed to get somebody who gave me a phone number, and I rang them up and I said, this is what happened. I said, and I can give you video evidence because I videoed myself on the platform and I videoed the train leaving without me, and you can hear all that. She said, oh, no, you don't need to do that. And so she took my explanation down, and then she said she was going to send me an email, but she didn't. So I had to then get back on and say, well, what's happening? Because by this, I was running out. So what happens? You have a month to claim. And that, you know, so that there's a certain date by which you have to claim. And I was at the nearly out of time when I put the claim in, because life had been happening, you know, and it was just that. I suddenly realized I got to get my claim in or I wasn't going to get it. And then they refused it. They said no action, no claim. So then in the email they said no claim. They said, but if you contest it, you've got this much time to do it, you know. So again, there was a deadline by which I had to do it. So I got back in touch with them, so then she didn't send me the email she was supposed to. So the next day I rang somebody else and she said, oh, yes, I can see her notes that she's put something down. Oh, yes, I can see that you're going to get a refund. I said, well, it would have been nice to know that. Anyway, she did send something that said I would be getting the refund. Well, long story short, folks, I have had the refund. It's in my bank and I've probably spent it again on another train ticket. So Susan's saying that's a shame. Oh no, Andrew's saying hate hearing stuff being stolen. Not nice at all. No, it wasn't nice at all about some of the equipment was stolen. And we asked for CCTV and they were never forthcoming with it, you know, because that building must have CCTV in it. It's a parish council building. And you know, they had promised that they had said, because we had so much equipment, you know, you can't keep lifting all those die cutters in and out of cars and things. It's just a horrendous. We did it to start with. I used to take my machines in, but then we built up our own equipment. I mean, one of the crafters gave us some equipment, and so Jan got it and she put it in those toolboxes, and we had it on wheels. And she locked it, but somebody had been in the cupboard and taken stuff out of the box somehow. And the people at the parish council building didn't really seem that bothered, you know, and that wasn't very nice because we were actually giving our time to do charity work, and we were paying. Jan was paying for the hire of the room, so there we go. So Heather saying that's wonderful that I actually got my refund finally. Yes, and that refund, it was funny because that was the journey where obviously they didn't let me on the train, but then I did get on another train, and so in the end of the day, I wasn't going to be an hour late. I was going to be about 50 minutes late, which was not a full refund, but it would still have been a refund. And it was one of the more expensive journeys because it was a longer journey than I usually do, and so it was about £39, I think, nearly £40, which is, you know, even £30 is better than a poke in the eye with a burnt stick. You know, I mean, I'm very lucky that I get my journeys for around £30 or just over £30. It's because I can travel, you know, when it's not the busy times. I can go for the cheapest tickets. I've got a disabled rail card, and then I use the train apps that give all the discounts as well. So I think the journey I did the other day that was about £31, its original price was about £100 or something crazy like that. But you know, if you can do it at the right time and with the rail cards, I mean, the rail card, if you buy a rail card these days, you then get, I think, a third off or something. Basically, by the time you've done 2 journeys, you've covered the cost of the rail card. You know, it's bonkers not to. And of course, I do it through Top Cashback. So I go through Top Cashback. So I get, it's only pennies, but all those pennies add up. So I think it's usually about 50p I get on a train ticket, because my train tickets are not that expensive. I'm getting about 50, and the percentage is small. I get about 50p. The other day I got 91p for one of my journeys. I think they were giving more discount that day or more cashback. So I do get very excited about these things. But yes, so it's good. But that's right. So it was going to be 50 minutes late. And when I've messaged my son, he was checking with me, was the train going to be in on time? And I said, oh, I think it is. I'll let you know. We're not far away now. And I was communicating with him a message. And then I said, oh, we've just stopped at a red signal. And we were nearly there. And we stopped at the red signal. I think we didn't stop a long time at the red signal. So yes, we were going to be 50 minutes late, and then we lost time before we got to the red signal. So we were going to be 58 minutes late. You know, you get the refund, the full refund at an hour. So it was going to be 2 minutes short of the hour. That's right. The signal went red, and we were stuck at the signal for 2 minutes. So by the time we got into the station, we were an hour late, and we got the full. That's why I got the full refund. So that was marvelous. So Andrew's saying his travel to London is on Thursday night via sleeper train. Sleeping on a recliner seat for £70 adds odds. I think I've been talking too long, folks. Hang on. It's a bit dry. The travel to London is on Thursday night via sleeper train. Sleeping on a recliner seat for £70 odds, and if I wanted a room, it would have been 210. And Andrew, do you do it through an app, and do you do it through Top Cashback? Because and have you got a rail card? Because I use my rail card. I go through Top Cashback, and I often use trip.com. I found trip.com is so I don't do it through the app. Don't do it through the trip.com app. Do it through the website, because you don't get the cashback if you go through the app. And so by doing that, you know, you get the extra. But that's good. I'm glad that you've got a good deal there. So yeah, and so oh yes, and on the Top Cashback, I don't think I told you, I've been last week and the week before, I was looking for hummingbirds. Did I tell you about the hummingbirds? When I first joined Top Cashback 2 years ago, they had this competition where somewhere on the website there were hummingbirds, and they would fly across the screen, and you had to click on them, and then they would drop a little package, and then the package would open, and it would tell you what you'd won. And it was great fun then, but I didn't do it. I obviously didn't have so much time on my hand. Oh, I should have done though 2 years ago because I wasn't that busy. Anyway, it came back again this year for the it came back again this year, and it's been such a hoot. So on the first day it came, so what you have to do is you have to go all over the Top Cashback site. Basically what they're making you do is look at all the stores and click on all the different stores. And it's been fantastic because my people who I've introduced to Top Cashback, who've been playing the Hummingbird game, have been saying, oh, that's brilliant. I didn't know that store was on here, and I didn't know that store, and I didn't know I could get that there. And so it's done. It was a marketing tool, obviously, for them, and it's done what it's supposed to do. So my people are happy because they know more shops now that they can use the Top Cashback on. But some people were moaning. So it was a Sweet Dreams. It was called Sweet Dreams, and you might get a sweet. So the fried egg, if you got a fried egg, you got 10p. I got a fried egg, so I had 10p cashback. Then I think there were different sweeties. So if you got 2 of this particular sweet, that would be 20p. Well, I got 1 of those in the whole time. And then the next one, there were 3 sweeties, and if you got all 3, then you would get 50p. I got 2 of those, so I was waiting for the last one. And then the next one up would be £1, and then there was £20 and £50 and £100. So it was 2 sweeties, 3 sweeties, 4 sweeties. And then lots of the hummingbirds would have a free, and I'm not going to say just a free prize draw, because some people were saying that, oh, all I got was a free prize draw entry. What they have to remember, this is a free competition. Nobody says you have to sit there and look for hummingbirds, so nobody's forcing you to do this. It's a fun thing, and if you win something, it's a bonus. And my daughter and I would choose, we were finding it was a real sport, and sometimes she'd click on something and she'd say, oh, it's on this page, and I go there and it wasn't on my page there, but sometimes they were on the and it was just such fun. Oh, Susan got 20. Oh, Susan, you got more than I did. Wait a minute, let's have a look. Andrew said he didn't use Top Cashback that time, but used Top Cashback a good few times now. Just Eat gave you over £4 cashback. Excellent, Andrew. I'm so glad that it's working for you now. Heather saying it's fun. Yeah, it is fun. If you don't have time, don't do it. If you're serious about winning serious money, do something that you're more likely to win on. And there was a prize of £1,000, and somebody did win that. So you have to be in it to win it. So all these prize entries were giving you more entries to be in it, but some people were losing their rag and getting cross and putting such rude things on the website. And Tasha and I were just laughing because other people were saying that too. It's a game. It's just a game, but it was fun. And I did find more stores that I didn't know about, so that was always good. My daughter was doing it very methodically, though. I was just going all over the place and just finding a store and going on it, and then underneath it would say some other stores, so I would click on those. Whereas my daughter started doing it alphabetically. She put A in, and then all those A ones beginning with A would drop down, and she was doing it like that. And then she'd put AA and then find all those stores. So she was much more methodical than I was. I was a bit, I'm crazy mad. My brain's wired like that. Mind you, her brain's wired a bit like mine. But no, she was more methodical. Anyway, so Susan got twice what I got. I got 10p. Susan got 20p. I don't think my daughter got anything, or did she? She might have. No, I don't think she did. I think she did. She got all these she got a way more prize draw entries than I did. But it was a game. It was fun. So we were looking for hummingbirds. But the competition's over now. But I expect it won't be long till there's a bonus Friday. Every now and again on a Friday, they do a bonus Friday. And what happens there is you have to activate the bonus. And usually they might give you £2. And what it is, you have to spend something in one of the shops, one of the retail units, and usually sometimes it's a minimum £5, so you can do a £5 spend and you get £2 cash back. No, you get £2 bonus, but you also get the cash back on whatever it was you bought that you would get anyway. And so if I'm not going to buy anything on that bonus Friday, I buy a gift card for one of the stores that I shop in regularly. So, you know, sometimes I have a gift card for Iceland, and I'll go to Iceland. If I'm doing online shopping, I don't do it that way. I just do my online Iceland order through the Top Cashback account. If I'm going into the store, I usually do that on a Tuesday, because on a Tuesday they give 10% to senior citizens, you know, us oldies. So what I do then is I buy a gift card for Iceland, and I get the cash back on the gift card, and then use the gift card to pay. And so if I'm going to do that, then I'll buy the gift card for Iceland and get the £2 cash back, and then use the card on the following Tuesday. Just got to play the system the best way you can. So anyway, it's getting a little bit late. I've been on 2.5 hours. I think I really need to go now. My throat is telling me, it's not sore, it's just a bit dry, and it's telling me that perhaps I should go. And maybe I ought to get to bed at a reasonable hour tonight, and then get up at a reasonable hour tomorrow. And, you know, as I say, it's a lazy day tomorrow. I don't have too much. I'm not going out. I'm not planning to go out tomorrow. But Tuesday, I'm going to the coffee morning. And then I'm meeting up with Richard May, who's the mayor of Ryde and Ryde Town Council. And then late at 5 o'clock, I'm going to a business meeting. There's a business meeting, and the MP for Isle of Wight East, which is where I live, is going to be there. Now, I want to have a meeting. I want to have a meeting with him, but what I want to talk to him is not appropriate to talk on Tuesday. I want a separate meeting with him, because I want to talk to him about the Visit Isle of Wight situation and see his take on it, and just understand where he sits on that. And but I thought if I saw him in person, to speak to him about having that meeting. And then I noticed that he was having a business meeting, or meeting up with the local businesses to try and join the dots, to work together, that sort of thing. He gets collaboration. And he was having this business meeting, and he was throwing out the invite, and he said, let me email me to let me know if you want to come. So I emailed him and said, I don't run a business, but can I still come? And he hasn't replied to me. So I was talking to Helen in the wool shop, and actually I've seen the poster now, and it actually doesn't say on the poster, you have to apply. He'd put the poster on his page, and then he put underneath, you know, email me. But actually the poster just says come along. But also I was in the wool shop with Helen, and I was telling her, and she's going to the meeting, and her partner was there, and he said, oh, go as her +1. So I'm going as her +1. But the reason I partly want to be there is because I'm a networker. Although I don't run my own business, I like to help those businesses connect. And, you know, it's always good to get to know the people. And a lot of those people I will already know, but it's about joining the dots and helping the businesses in any way we can. So on that note, folks, that is what I'm going to be up to. And then on Wednesday, I haven't booked my ticket yet, but on Wednesday I'm going home. No, this is home. That's my second home. I'm going back to my daughter's. And I was going to possibly meet up with Jackie Hennessy, who's one of our group. I don't think she's in the broadcast tonight, but she's been very, very much a part of the Go Live Granny community. I've never met her, but she's been a great member of our community, and she's been knitting for us for the smoothie hats. And of course, if any of you are watching in and you've got smoothie hats, let me have them ASAP, because I noticed and some of you will know this, I noticed the other day that they have to send them off to head office, and they said that they were paying £12 to £15 for a box of posting 500 hats. I was telling Helen this, and she said no. She said they're paying too much for that postage, because Helen does mail order on her wool. And she said they shouldn't be paying that much, you know. And she said talk to them about it, because they should be able to get the postage for less than that. Anyway, they've been offered free postage. I don't know whether it's head office is doing the free postage or how this is working, but for about a couple of weeks they've got free postage to send the hats to the head office, because they all have to go off to head office to be counted, and then the money allocated back to the individual Age UK charities. So if we've hit our target, then we will get all the money staying on the Isle of Wight. But so I was going to keep them all together and let Age UK have them sort of just, you know, in the run up to when they really needed them, just have this huge mountain of hats to photograph of that. But because they got free postage, I'm not going to do that. I want them to have them so they don't have to pay the postage on them. And I've collected the hats that Helen and Anne made up in Isle of Wool. I've got the hats that Dee made, who dropped them in at Isle of Wool. She runs a handbag shop where I got my wonderful stripy handbags. I got hers. I think it was I've forgotten her name. Nana Tig. Well, what? Oh, I've forgotten her name. Twitch Nana Tig or something like that. She sent me some. And Linda Pugh messaged me, and she said she'd got some and she'd send them to me when I was home. So I let her know that I was going to be home so that she could get them in the post, and I can get them in under the free postage. So she's done that. And then when Jackie saw that I'd come back the other day, she said, oh, if I'd have known you'd come back, I could have met you, because I go through Basingstoke. I usually change trains in Basingstoke, and she lives in Basingstoke. We've never met. But she said, oh, what a shame. I said, oh, well, don't despair. I said, so I messaged her today to say I'm going back to my daughter's on Wednesday, so maybe we can meet. And then she messaged me back and said something about, did I want to be taking those that way? I said, no. Why don't I collect them when I come back to the island, because I'm coming back the following week. I said, why don't we do it then? Because then I won't have to take them to Wiltshire and then bring them back. I will only have to collect them at Basingstoke and bring them back. So that's what we're going to do. So I will meet Jackie sometime soon. It might be for 10 minutes on my check, because sometimes I have a very short changeover at Basingstoke. Sometimes I have nearer half an hour. So let's hope it's a train when I get nearer half an hour, and then I can link up with her. How did the competition go with the community in Isle of Wool with Anne and Helen? Do you know, Susan, I don't know. I'm going to count up. I know which ones Helen's are, because they're in black sacks down here by me here. So those two black sacks. So I will count the contents of those two black sacks and make a note of what Helen and Anne did, and then I will count up all the rest. So Linda did send hers, and hers arrived. I haven't counted hers, and I hadn't counted Nana Tig or whatever her name is. I've forgotten how she says her name. So I will count up and see who had the most. Helen said she was thinking that hers had nearer to 500 in them, because I said, oh, you got about 400. She said, oh, I think it's nearer 5. So I will count up and let her know. I won't cheat. I won't pretend we won if we didn't. But I think it was only a cup of coffee in it. I think she offered me a cup of coffee if we got more than she did. I'm not going to worry about what the result was. But don't forget, those of you just coming in now, if you want to enter this, well, I don't know if it's a competition. I don't know if there's any prizes. Maybe a gold star. But Carol, I think it was Carol, suggested we had an Easter hat competition, and then people were talking about it tonight. So if you want to send any pictures of an Easter hat or Tracy said that she would what about her eating an Easter egg? Would that count? So I decided that if you want to send any Easter pictures to me, I can make a reel up, or I can put pictures up of all your Easter activities, and you know, we can take it from there. I might be feel generous and give a prize, or I might just give you all a gold star. But if you want to do that, please do that. Let me have them. I'm not broadcasting on Sunday next week. I'm broadcasting on Monday because I'm going to be with my family members on Sunday night, enjoying myself. Not that I don't enjoy myself here, I always do, but I will be enjoying myself somewhere else with my family members. And so I will come to you on Monday night, Easter Monday. But for now, you've had me now for 2 hours, 44 minutes and 22 seconds. So I think really, because my throat is getting dry, I think I need to go and rest it and chill out for a little while before I go to bed. And so thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being kind to each other, as you always are. That's lovely. And I will see you next week, but keep your eye on, you know, all the shenanigans going on, because as you know, I like to post. I've got to do some reels, because I took loads of pictures at the King Ubu show on Friday night. I took loads of pictures Saturday night. I've got lots of other things. I've got lots of show reels to make in amongst downloading all these lives that I've got to get off Facebook. So a bit busy, just a tad busy, but you know, I'm enjoying it. I haven't done any knitting since I've been home. I better get on and do so. Oh, I did make some pom-poms for some hats that I'd already done. And I was going to start knitting something. Somebody's asked me to make them a cardigan, and I was going to start knitting it. And I went to find it, and I couldn't find it. So I messaged my daughter, and I said, "Can you look in my room and see if you can find it?" And it was there. It was in her. I got a lot of craft stuff in her room, and I just didn't notice it when I was packing up to come back. So it's there. So I will start knitting that when I go back there. Night, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and see you all again very soon. And have a wonderful week. Bye.